It's Paps. Hey, Black Truth, I'll talk 2 seconds. You've only got to wait till it goes to. I can't see it, it's 1958. Now, 2 minutes of nonsense first night. Less than 1 minute before we start drinking. Airport, drinking time. Yeah, sorry, hey Blacktooth, how's it going? I'm afraid the Thunderbird isn't mine. Thunderbird? It's not a Thunderbird, it's a Firebird. Isn't mine. It's way too expensive. I didn't actually look up to see how much it was, but it's way too expensive for me. It's my pal has bought it and they got me to check it out, change strings and set it up for what I assume is a different gauge of strings than what was on it. He asked me to oil the fingerboard as well, and it's ebony, which is kind of not really make sure you put the oil on the ebony the same way. It kind of it's made it shinier. Hey Hellbound, how's it going? Yeah, so Bucky time. This is thanks to for Taylor Bird. I forgot his name for the bottle of Bucky. Buck fastered the guitar for him, and he gave me a bottle of Bucky as a tip. So even better, a complimentary Bucky. Yum. No, Civic didn't buy me a Thunder. She knows better than to buy me a guitar because it would be the right one. She did actually one time when I was overseeing her. She bought a guitar and wouldn't tell me anything about it. I bought a guitar, but I didn't. What? I didn't show you because I knew you wouldn't like it. And it was like, all right, and it was a Star Sun Mockingbird, and it was MDF. It looked like someone had it. See when you've got like something, you know, those pots that sit up on top of the kitchen cabinets that just get covered in grease after 10 years. It kind of looked like that, and it was missing a bridge and a switch or something. There was a couple of bits missing from it, and the thing was pretty hideous. And I was like, oh God, what have you done? You're right. I would have said no. She paid £6 for it, including delivery. You're like, okay, £6 for a guitar. Actually, I managed to get it working. Hey Scott, how's it going? Yeah, no, it's the Epiphone Thunderbird. I'm afraid isn't mine. If it had been mine, I would have known what I would have looked it up. I would have known what model it was and stuff. A couple of folk mentioned in the comments. You and Ian both told me. I can't remember who I don't know, but I don't even know which band he's from. The guy whose signature model it is, but I mean, it's a very pretty color. Actually, I saw one. Was that an Ibanez Destroyer by chance yesterday when I was looking through Facebook? It wasn't for sale, just on the Ibanez page. That was the same sort of color, that kind of charcoal grey, which I thought it looks absolutely fantastic. Metalliclips. What is that actually? Evening, Craig. I'm still not spent your money. But cheers for that last week. Nearly blew me over. I think side hustle is quite a good way of putting it. Yeah. Just do it for fun. I get paid off at the start of lockdown, and I've basically just been frittering away my money ever since, really. This is keeping me sane, or relatively sane. So is Metalliclips a band? Yeah. Just goes to show. I don't know. I don't actually have the guitar. Well, the guitar's through there with the oil and the fingerboard just now. I don't like playing other people's guitars on a live stream when I'm drinking anyway, just in case if I drop it. I know it's illegal to drink drive, so I would never drink drive anyway. But the thought is there, if you run somebody over and you have had a drink, even if you're under the limit, you might not have hit them if you hadn't had one beer. So I don't even ever have one beer and drive. The same idea with this. It's like, well, guzzling bucky, talking to folk online. You're kind of asking for me to drop the guitar, really, aren't you? So, I mean, not that I can stop myself anyway. So this week we have a special guest. We have Phil. Don't know, it's got quite a subtle, I don't know if you can see it with the light, it's got quite a subtle little massive mother of pearl eagle landing on a rug on the front of it. It looks really orange just now. Actually, my light's burst, so I've only got a wee fluorescent thing. It's not quite as orange as this, it's more reddy. Sort of, I would guess. Would you say it was a PRS type thing? It's a flat top. Well, I was kind of expecting it to be curved top. But this guitar is actually the lovely Civets. She bought this in 2000 because I actually got 2000 on the fretboard, on the 12th fret marker in Taiwan. And she never liked it. She always hated it because what she actually wanted was a Gibson SG, and a Gibson SG was twice the price. So she bought this instead and always hated it. So I got it, really unloved. It was really moldy when I got it, and I was like, pure. She's like, just do it, fix it, sell it. And I was like, I cannot sell in that. It's got a whopping great eagle on the front. It's also got stock Seymour Duncans. One of the few guitars I've actually got with Seymour Duncans in it, 59s or something 59s. They might just be 59s. And fancy fret markings and possibly an ebony fingerboard. I don't know. I don't really know that much about Phil. There was actually one was it last Christmas? So 18 months ago. There was a guy selling one down in Kent, I think it was, or somewhere in the south of England. And he was selling one, and he bought it at a Frankfurt guitar show as a sort of demonstrator one. So he reckoned there was only 2 Phils. He bought 2 of them and sold one to his house. He reckons there was only 2 in Britain. I was like, yeah, nope, there's 3 because I've got one as well. I was very tempted to buy it. It was like a thin line one, but it didn't have a massive mother of pearl eagle on it, so it didn't really do it for me. Yeah. Yes, I do actually have an Ibanez Destroyer, but it was in atrocious condition when I got it. Before I really knew what I was looking at, I'd kind of bid on it. It was in bits. I'd bid on it without really looking at it first, and then when I got it, I didn't realize it was an X-shaped Destroyer, so it's not like an Explorer. It's got an extra cut in the bottom of it. The guy, I ended up going. The guy was like pure apologising when I bought it, because I think I ended up paying about 90 quid for it. And the guy was like, "Look, sorry, man, I didn't think it was going to go for anything like this amount of money. I've bought a bridge for it. I'll throw you the bridge in as well." And it was like a Gotoh Floyd Rose, but where the pins, the bridge posts went had been all mashed out, and the whole thing had been stripped and painted with what looked like ink. So the bridge didn't actually fit, but I sold the bridge and got 80 quid for it. So I ended up getting the guitar for a tenner. So I'm not going to be complaining. Hey, Stuart. I call it a double cut Les Paul. Maybe, yeah. But did Les Paul not have to have a carved top? Would that be a double cut Les Paul Jr.? And the answer to your question is I don't know what the scale is. I'm assuming it's Gibson. Yeah, 24 3/4. If it was a proper copy of a PRS, it would be it'd be 25 though, wouldn't it? Which is, you actually see it. I think Martin Acoustics have got a funny. The old Martin Acoustics have got a different scale length. I don't know whether it's 25 or not, but the 25 thing was like a PRS 25-inch scale. It's like somewhere between a Strat and a Gibson, and the Washburn Wings are 25-inch scale as well. So it's hardly original. It's kind of I don't know, would a double cut Les Paul not be both the same size? I don't know what it is. It's a kind of meh shape. I mean, without the fanciness on it, it would just be all right. But it does play amazingly well, and as the same there, Blacktooth Elixir strings. That's how it's still got strings that I can play on it. I find Elixir strings, if you're using the guitar every week to go into the studio, Elixir strings don't last any longer than anything else. But if you're going to play it for a couple of days and then stick it in a bag for a year, and then play it for a couple of days and then stick it back in the bag for another year, Elixirs are the way to go because they don't kind of disappear. They stay there. Just bought a BC Rich Bronze Warlock for 80 quid. It's not working. That reasonable deal. Depends what it is if it's not working. If the neck isn't twisted, then you rocked it. Not working, it's the chances. If it's an electrical thing, you know, it's like, even if it is like one of the big things, like a pot's gone or the switch is broken, you know, it's only a couple of quid for the switch to change it over. The chances are it'll be rotational damage. So what's happened is, this is just a pure guess. All the only information I've got is you just bought a Bronze Warlock. Is see when you turn the volume down and it sort of spins on its shaft because it's not quite, the bolt on the top's not tight enough. That makes it spin, which means that the wires get pulled off the back of the volume control. It'll be that, or it'll be exactly the same thing happened to the output jack. I would pretty much guarantee. I do like the Bronze Warlock. I've actually still got a Bronze Warlock sitting next door. My pal Cameron up the road hasn't been to pick it up yet. I do like them. I take it it'll be black. It's like, I think they're always black. But I do like. I also see the pickups that are in them. The ones that have got BC Rich brand on them, I think they are awesome pickups. I've used them in a couple of things. I've actually bought them before on eBay, those BC Rich pickups, because you can pick them up not that expensive, because people go, oh, bought a BC Rich and immediately put Seymour Duncan's in it. Well, the pickups that are in it are actually really good. They're kind of not, they're not heavy metal pickups though. They're kind of the sort of pickups I like, kind of like these, whatever these are, these Super 59s or whatever they're called. That kind of range. They're not the ones, you know, I'd imagine if you've got a Warlock, maybe you're wanting to down tune and have so much distortion and gain that I can't hear any guitar in it. I just hear that. They don't do that, but they do the kind of distortion I like, which is sort of, you know, Hendrixy, Zeppelin-y 70s type drive. Does that really well. Really, BC Rich Warlocks used to be cheap. I think £80 is actually quite a good deal for them now, because I mean, I've had a couple of those, and I remember buying one for 20 quid. And what had happened was the screws that hold the humbuckers in had fallen out, so the pickup fit, and that was really all that was wrong with it. So I kind of put switches and stuff in it, and maybe painted it silly and flipped it. But that was 10 years ago. Now, the age of the really cheap BC Riches seems to have completely gone. I don't know. I mean, if you look them up on eBay, there's not very many. Actually, during the week there, I was in. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to get a video out of it. Me and Scott, who is probably talking to his kids just now, apparently he only gets to come in and talk when they're having a tea break. But we went round a few of the guitar shops in Glasgow looking, and then Merchant City had some of the new BC Riches, and they look absolutely amazing. They had like the problem. I did the video, but the problem is it's like I had this great idea of like, see, when I'm using my GoPro, I'm forever touching the mic, so it's always up here. It's fine as I hit the mic. So I made this. Well, actually, I got a piece of wood and stuck a clip on it so I could have it in this, thinking that was going to make a difference. But what it makes is it makes this live. So it's like, you know, your piezo pickup and your acoustic. It's like that. So every time I turn it round, it's pure as my hand. So I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to get anything out of it. The video's fine. I'm thinking of it might be an idea of somehow, if I could get the video up and then me and Scott could just talk over the top, do a commentary track type thing. But going back to the BC Riches, they had, and this is Merchant City in Glasgow, they had two Mockingbirds. One kind of like the Slash one. It's all right, but I've got a reverse headstock. And one that had the most amazing, super bling type, this kind of super binding abalone all the way around the outside, and it was a cool sort of faded from pink to purple cap on it. Looked stunning. There were a couple of ironbirds, a white one and they just looked fantastic. They were like 1,100 quid or something like that, but they were neck through and they did look proper the part. So BC Rich are back and they're expensive. It's not like the cheaper ones. Oh no, there we go, Craig. BC Rich, some cosmetic damage. Well, there's always chips on the horns. I actually remember selling one of the ones I said I had before. I was doing a video demonstration of it. It was a black one, and I was playing. I was like, there's a bit of a chip there, and I guess I'll just sort that. And I got a black marker pen out and coloured it in, and that was the video for it. So someone down in London, I think, I was selling it for, I think I sold it for 120 quid or something. There was some guy in London up here. Yes, I'm just interested in buying it. I was like, oh, did you see the video? No. I was up here, sent him a link to the video, and then I got one back going up here. Right, okay. I watched the video, and I'm not giving you 120 quid. I'm giving you 140 quid for it, because he thought it was funny. So fair enough. So basically, you can just colour in, just get a black Sharpie and colour in the chips on the edge of the body, and it should be fine. Some light scratches in the body, small damage to bottom left of the guitar, 2 missing strings and a loose switch. It sounds like basically it just needs a clean, really, doesn't it? And the loose switch could be that thing I was saying about if the switch is loose and it's maybe spinning in the socket or something, it's pulled the wires off it. There's a chance that would be something like that. Hey Blacktooth, you've got a bit of fret sprout, my best guitar that's been sat unsung for too long. Is there something I can sort out myself? Get a dapping hammer and give it a go. I take it when you mean fret sprout, you don't mean, because for me, fret sprout, not the way Phil McKnight describes it. He describes it as it's hanging over the edge of the fingerboard. I'm thinking more fret sprout, as in it's coming out. The frets are coming out the wood. Yeah, it's just a case of just sitting and filing it, really. I had to do a wee bit. I've done a Buckycaster Telecaster, and it was quite bad for having sharp fret edges. Just a case of you sit there and you kind of do it when you're sitting watching something. You're watching a live stream or something like that. Just sit, and the thing is, it's really annoying because you do have 22 to do or whatever it is, or it's actually 44 because you've got to do the top and the bottom, but you've also got to do this side and this side, so it's 44 times 2, so it's 88 times you've got to do it. It does get a bit tedious. It's not a fun thing. It's just once you've done, like, start up here though, so when you get down here, you do the good bits. You've got better at it, and just plow away at it. Even if you're using these wee stupid files, these wee red ones that everyone seems to have, and they're a bit crap. You want to get a decent file that's a lot easier. These ones, sort of wooden handle ones, they do. They're JK, made in India, so they're not exactly Stumac, but I think I got this one and a sort of triangular one for, I think it was 12 quid for the two of them or something like that, and that was a good buy. I'm well pleased with that. I've definitely had my money's worth out of them. Actually, my pal told me that what you want is, that I used to get them when I was working. It's basically you get a sponge, like a sanding sponge about the size of a packet of fags, which is kind of like a sponge, but it's got sandpaper on it. Apparently that, and just doing that down the edges sorts it. Pal Jerry told me that, because he had a really nice Tribute SG, which I tried a new one of and hated it because it was really badly, the fret ends were really bad, but basically that's all he did, and it kind of rounded the edge of the fingerboard as well. Made a big difference. Heard of a dapping hammer? Got a couple of free with some shelves from IKEA. Rocking. Basically, I'll be honest, I was using a claw hammer with a bit of cardboard stuck on it and duct tape on it to kind of hold it on, until my pal Dava gave me his, I'd imagine it's old one because it's held together with tape. I think these things are only about $5 from China or something like that. So it's kind of rubbery and kind of plasticky. Just use a hammer, claw hammer. But the problem is you just go bang and it might knock the frets right into it. Hey, TaylorMade Music. How's it going? I've lost my... I even put new batteries in this thing, so I'm fed up with turning off. I should have bought not the cheapest one of these I could find. We're doing okay. Yeah, but basically just spend your time at it. Saying it's your favourite guitar. As long as you don't... The thing is, you are going to damage the edges of the fingerboards where you'll see it. It's really annoying. The delicious... I thought it was funny tasting. It's Kilmarnock. Did you pick me the best number? They're really impressive. It's a good number. 13. It's a bit of an unlucky number. A wee bit of a demon in that, isn't there? It is glorious. It is lovely. I've actually got a bottle of Bucky that I bought. Must be coming up for 2 weeks old. That I was going to drink last Friday, I think. I didn't. I ended up forgetting about it. I drank the neck of it, forgot about it, and then couldn't drink on Saturday because I'm drinking Sunday. And then all this week I keep thinking, I've got that nearly full bottle of Bucky. Never got down to it. I figured that you would all think I'd started early before. I've got a wee miniature claw hammer actually. Yeah, maybe it's. I've literally had a bit of insulating tape, and it just kind of. It was more the sort of scratching of the frets I was thinking of. So I just basically kind of wrapped the head in insulating tape when using that, and when I was hitting it, I wasn't giving it the full swing. I was being quite dunk like that. Actually, I did a video, one of the videos where I was fixing up a guitar sitting in the seat with a thingy there, and I used that hammer because I couldn't find the dapping hammer, and I had to cut that bit out because the volume of me hitting something with a hammer was like 10 times the talking. So it was me talking, going, hit it with the dapping hammer, bah, bah, bah. It was like, it didn't sound good. So I cut that bit out. Okay, if there's an old guitar, it's fine. That's the thing that gets difficult about these things. That's why I was saying there about doing Taylor, about doing the Bucky casters. I much prefer it when it's not somebody else's guitar. Working on somebody else's guitar there's a fear level of not wanting to screw it up. Whereas if it's your own guitar, you just live with it. It's like, I've done it before. You're sitting there. I can't even remember which guitar it is. I think it was my original Epiphone SG. I think all I did was change the pickups over. Everything was good. I was up here, and I had them all connected up, wired them in, working fine. I was screwing in the screws. I'd only put in 2 of the pickup ring screws on each one. So I was like, everyone's working. Brilliant. I put the other screws in, screw in, and I managed to let the screwdriver slip and just went right across the top. And it was just like, so I'm so pleased it was my guitar I did that to, but that's the fear I've got, especially see on working and things like that. The Epiphone Explorer, there's a horrendous fear with that because it's brand spanking new and it's really, really pretty and really, really expensive. So stuff like that. So even just something as simple as, unscrewing the pickups, it's like you're right. This is, it just takes that little bit longer. Whereas if it's one of my guitars, it's like, and it's like the chances are the screwdriver's not going to slip and gouge the surface of the top. But you've got to really try and get out of it. Hellbound never tried Buckfast. Where are you, Hellbound? Because a lot of people I know, actually, somebody commented before on one of my videos, they're actually from Buckfast and they didn't know there was a wine called Buckfast. It's like, Buckfast, aye. You keep talking about this. That's where I live. And it's like, that's where I live. Right. That, the Buckfast. I know there's an abbey. I didn't know they made wine, though. Amazing. You'll get it. Midlands, you'll get it. I don't even know what the Midlands is. The Midlands like Birmingham and stuff? Is that kind of Leicester? This you can get Bucky there. You basically just have to go somewhere where there's Scottish people and there will be Bucky. There's a shop in Newcastle. I know this in the town centre that I remember going up and going, excuse me, mate. And the guy literally turned around and goes like up here. There's a shop down the side there that sells Bucky. And it was like, cheers, without even having to ask because Scottish people turn up. You can also buy it on Abbey Road, or you could when I went to Abbey Road in 1997 when I went to see Mike Oldfield. Me and my pals went and absolutely chucking it down. And there was a place on Abbey Road called House of Booze that sold Bucky. So we had Bucky, and there's actually photos, but it's really dark and rainy, and it's back in the days before digital cameras. There are photos of us crossing the Abbey Road zebra crossing with bottles of Bucky because we got them in the House of Booze. England, yeah, I got I got as far as thinking the Midlands is in England. Give it a shot. Actually, I'm going to a party. It was meant to be last month, and it's now in next month. Ali, the drummer in my band, and he was like, "Is that anything you want for the bar?" Because he's got a bar. I was like, "Bucky, can you get optics for Bucky?" And he did. He bought like optics, so he's got like 4 bottles of Bucky. On like, you know, so you can dish it out. So at the free bar, you'll be able to get Bucky, which will be superb. And he tried them. He's like, I can't just open the bottles just now. And I was like, well, I wouldn't if you didn't have to. He's like, I'll just drink one. So he drank one. He said it was really bizarre because it's totally full of caffeine. It is called Rick the Hoose Juice for a reason. It's like a sort of, it's very uplifting. And I'm not thinking you're necessarily likely to fight with other people, but you'll definitely have a fight with something, like a lamppost or a bush, if you're drinking it out in the street, which is the best place to drink it. JP, you've got Bucky in Northern Ireland. Have you not got am I imagining is there an extra label here in the Northern Irish stuff? I've actually got a bottle down there my pal got in Spain. At one of the, I don't know, was it Gran Canaria? Is that in Spain? Or Gran Canaria, where there's obviously Scottish people go there on holiday, so they sell Bucky, and it's actually all in Spanish, all the ingredients and stuff. So I've got the bottle. He didn't give me a full bottle, he gave me an empty bottle. I was like, well, okay, so I'm going to peel the bottle off that and use it for something. I'm going to make a Bucky pedal. I kind of tried, but I failed. Where is it? I'm sure it's sitting over here. So it needs more than that. Basically, you can't, you won't even focus on it. Basically, all I did was get. Okay, that was a topper. What I'm going to do is I'm going to basically peel that off. Just sellotaping it on doesn't do the job. The reason I bought this pedal is because it's already got red knobs on it, and it's got this. And I'm going to take the top of a bottle of Bucky if you've never seen it. It's got that. It's got like a wee. It's got like a shield on it. It's not liking it because of where the camera is. I'm going to stick that, or just actually stick an entire bottle of Bucky top on top of that, and that'll be an awesome pedal. It's a copy of an Earthquaker Devices. I can't remember what it is. Just kind of a sort of distortion-y fuzz pedal. Oh, hold on. Where are we? Yeah, go to Scottish people. There will be Bucky. I wonder if that works in, you know, because obviously there's quite a lot of places in America where it's like there's a Scottish contingent. I think Utah is one of those places. Actually, as I was reading today. I don't know if they'll sell Bucky because maybe it's a relatively modern thing, like in the last 30 years. I don't know. Used to beers and terrible lager. Well, my problem is I struggle to get drunk on beers. Not because of the lack of alcohol, but because I'm drinking so much and there's so much gas in it. After 4 beers, maybe I start feeling a bit, and it's like pure burp city. I'm just burping, and I'm trying to force more beer. It's not a relaxing thing. I do like a beer, but once you start getting to 4 or 5, and if you want to get pissed, you really need to have 6, don't you? And it's like I struggle to get there, and then eventually the burps become foamy burps, and then the foamy burps become being sick. Even though I'm not really pissed, there's something in it. Blood of Christ, maybe. Well, I think that's maybe a little bit anti-religious. Well, it's made by monks, so it was obviously a relative. Actually, when I was down in Colville, there was these are Benedictine monks. Don't know what that means. There was Trappist monks. Don't know what that means, but there's a picture of me at the Abbey, which I just should have used for the thing like this. And the Abbey looks remarkably similar to Buckfast Abbey because it's an Abbey. And they made this ale, I think you would call it. And Wayne bought a box of it. And we tried it. It was horrible. It was like, I really can imagine it's exactly how ale was made in caveman times. It's like it just didn't have anything. I don't know what percentage it was. It didn't matter. You couldn't drink a bottle of this stuff. I'm talking about, if you were at like a festival, if you're at Download Festival and it's a £6 a pint, or you could for free you could get a pint of this stout stuff, you would still be drinking £6 a pint stuff because it really was that horrid. Did he call it Black Label because of the Black Country? Black Country is I know that's Birmingham, isn't it? I don't know, is Lesser counting that? The Midlands. I know, so for me, people in England talk about the North, and it's like, yeah, the North, Preston and Newcastle and Manchester. The North is 200 miles south of here, man. The North for here is Cape Wrath, which I've never actually been to, but it's called Cape Wrath. Should be a film. Sounds ominous and terrifying. It's like, where do you want to go on your boat? Oh, I don't know. That sounds like a nice place. Oh, what's it called? Cape Wrath. Doesn't sound like the sort of place you want to go on a boat. Sounds like the sort of place where you get shipwrecked, is my thinking. Hey, Mr. White. Frosty Jack. Bucky White Lightning. If you don't it does contribute to antisocial behaviour, but the thing is, you could just drink other things and it'd be the same. I do actually remember watching a programme on Pullman Prison, which is in Falkirk, and it was something completely insane. Like 90% of I think it was like a young man's prison, sort of 16 to 20-year-old sort of thing, and something like 90% of the people that were in there had at least a whole bottle of Bucky before they did what it was they get caught doing, which ended up them going to prison. Just because it's like, I suppose it's not cheap though. It's not cheap wine. It's like £7 a bottle, depending on which shop. I've got two shops I can go to. One of them's £6.99. The other one's is £8.29 or something like that. They're only 100 yards apart. So guess which one I go to. They ran out of Bucky last week. I was in a panic it was Friday. I went up, no Bucky. When's it coming in? Sunday, right? Not going to risk it. So I went to Kirky and bought a couple of bottles. And then I think they asked today. Actually, just for the off chance, I already had a bottle. I was up here. You got the Bucky back in? Is it up here? Yeah, we've got a couple of bottles. And I was up here. No, it's cool. I don't want one. He's up here. So obviously you're going to get folk going mental. Vino de Collapsio. It could be. It could be. Yes. That's very good. Yeah, the kids drink White Lightning. White Lightning's not cheap anymore. Oh, maybe you don't have the minimum pricing law. Whatever it is you are. That might be a Scottish thing. We've got a minimum pricing law, which means you can't sell cheap booze depending on what the alcohol content is. You've got to be above a certain price. So if it's something like, if it's 10% or something like that, it's you've got to charge at least £3 for it or something. So basically, we don't get White Lightning and Frosty Jack anymore because it's expensive. It's the same price as Strongbow. The thing with Bucky is Bucky was never really that cheap anyway because it's like 15% and £6 or £7 a bottle. That's above the threshold. It does affect red wine drinkers because I remember when we used to go camping, we used to always buy a bottle of red wine so that when you finished your Bucky, you had something that you could, in case you dropped your Bucky and it smashed, or you could get someone else. If anyone else didn't have any, you could give them the bottle of £2.50 red wine. Don't get that anymore. We have to pay a £5 for a bottle of red wine, which is annoying because it means that the really cheap, horrible stuff that you can only drink when you're drunk, you can't. It's the same price as sort of decent, your Jacob's Creek and all that. Frosty Jack. Just remember the EXP I have is a 58 Explorer. It's a 58 profile, which is thick, not like a Les Paul. So early Metallica play. I know they did do Explorers, but I've actually got the Flying V that Kirk Hammett played. It was mine's branded Arbiter. In fact, no, I was going to say I've got a Flying V that I got at someone was throwing out that I got a couple of months ago that I've not done anything with because it doesn't have a Flying V headstock. It's got a Les Paul headstock, so but it's Japanese. But the one I've got is an Arbiter Flying V, and it is the exact same guitar as the white one that James Hetfield played. I said Hammett. James Hetfield played on the first couple of Metallica albums. Bolt-on neck, steel adjustable neck. Matsumoku built. His was branded Electra. Even though it had a Gibson, you had to just change this only the crush rod cover. It says it. So when he bought it, he was like, "Pure, yeah, I've got a Gibson Flying V," and then folk about that pair. Bolt-on neck. Gibson Flying V's don't have bolt-on necks. All right, it's like the bolt-on neck says steel adjustable neck made in Japan on it. They don't make that, but that's the white one that he's painted a few times. I think you scratched fuck off into it or something. I've got that guitar. It's an awesome Flying V. I love it. I wish I knew. I remember Airborne a while, but they had a song that used to be on when I was working with my dad. That were builders, and I put it on. It's like, oh, I can't remember, but it's definitely a "Get Used to It." It was like too hard. I wish I could remember the song. I need to get back in it. But when they first came out, the first album, I remember it was like pure. Wow, they are pure. Well, they're Australian and they're just AC/DC, really. Fantastic. Too much, too hard, too young. That's one of their songs. What's one that goes "Get Used to It"? There ain't no way but the hard way. Get used to it. That was it. That was my dad's style of. That was a lyric that really got me. My dad doesn't like music at all. Really, I do remember him being really surprised one time when I was showing him my stereo and whatever car it was, at the live version of Whole Lotta Rosie from the Donington AC/DC live album. I was like, listen to the bass in this. I was like, da 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 da. You can go like, you're right. Da 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 da. You can see him going, who's this? Up here. Man who doesn't like music, but you can't not like AC/DC if you're into a bit of the rock. EXP, yeah. Aye, Frosty Jack. I bought a bottle of Frosty Jack. Actually wrote a song once. Me and my pal did it. Something along the chorus was something along the lines of "going down the road for a bottle of Jack," which obviously sounds like pure, yeah, Guns N' Roses bottle of Jack Daniels. So it was like "going down the road for a bottle of Jack, Frosty Jack, Frost." It never got released and didn't make me millions of pounds. Scrumpy. Oh, yeah. Oh, here we go. Oh, I've got behind. I've been talking too much nonsense. Drinking Frosty now. Frosty Jack. Wow. I couldn't. I bought a bottle, like a Zeppelin, which at the time I never realised it was called a Zeppelin, but someone maybe 10 years ago suggested, turn up with a Zeppelin, a cider. It's like, the 3-litre bottle. Zeppelin. Yeah, I bought it so I could say I've got a Zeppelin, a cider, but we couldn't drink it. It was terrible. The other thing I said as well, someone, my pal Jerry, again, who I've already mentioned tonight, from Stirling, put in a picture of a bottle of Guinness that he got, whatever it was, on holiday, and it was 7.5 horsepower. And I thought, right, that's it. From now on, Bucky's 15 horsepower. Forget the percentage alcohol. Just call it horsepower. Definitely what I want to do. Early Hetfield was a 79 Gibson Explorer, and yet it was a slimmer neck. Not the earliest one. It wasn't an Explorer. Okay, yes, not the Flying V. The famous fuck guitars in 87 ESP with a Gibson shaped headstock. I don't know. I'm not a huge Metallica fan, I'll be honest. I remember hearing the Black Album when it was current, and I used to be a guy. I used to go and see with my pal, and one of his pals was a heavy metal guy and could play quite a lot of it, like on an acoustic guitar, and it was amazing. I wasn't that keen on the. I don't know. I'd heard Black. This is when I was at that time. I was just finding Black Sabbath, and I can't see that they're the same. I know, just not in. I was maybe too old. What rehearsal studios does your band use? We use Berkeley 2 in Glasgow for pretty much both the bands. It's got good equipment in it. Apart of the thing you always talk to is always the drummer. They've got good drum kits according to the drummers in both the bands I'm in. The amps, they're kind of, Berkeley's a bizarre one because all the rooms are the same. Well, they're not all the same, but they've all got exactly the same equipment in them. So you go in and it's like the first few rooms are big and they've got new Marshall GCM 2000 and a new, I can't remember what make is a bass amp. They're new. And then once you get to rooms of 5 to 10, they're 5-year-old amps and stuff, and the rooms are slightly smaller. And once you get to 10 to 15, you get ones that were originally in room 1 for 5 years, then spent 5 years in room 5, and then they're now, living their retirement in the wee tiny rooms. So I think I always get, and the wee rooms are small, so I think it gets you, everyone's the same. You're standing there with him in the guitar, playing the guitar, drummer, bass player, singer, all fine. The door sometimes on that wall, sometimes it's on that wall, sometimes it's on this wall. It's not. I never used to like it. When I used to go in drinking with my pals 20 years ago, we used to go to the Brill building in Osborne Street in Glasgow because you could drink bucket. And also, we would always book the cheapest shitty room. And their policy was that if you had a room booked, this was on a Friday night, or a Saturday night, so that's when any good bands got a gig. So we were going on a Friday night. We booked the shit room, which I think was 18 quid at the time. And then we'd go, all right, okay. And then sometimes there would be somebody in one of the 2 good rooms, which were 24 quid, and we'd have to play in the shitty room, the room with no air. And then, but most of the time they wouldn't, so we'd get one of the better rooms because it was a policy that if whatever one you booked, you would get put into the best one if there was nobody else taking it. But that was the room with no air. It was like an internal room. It was in the arches, and it had an Expel air fans on it, and a door that was it was a really thick door that had carpet on both sides, for soundproofing. So you'd be sitting there playing away, first hour, time to, go out and get a can of juice or something. You'd try to open the door and it was like, and it was negative pressure because the Expel air fans were sucking air out the room. And then you'd open it and the air pressure would rise. It was so stinky. But we use that. And also there's one in Mary Hill, which I much prefer for parking, called, I think it's called the Audio Lounge. It doesn't have it used to be called the Practice Pad years ago. And the guy who runs it, Colin, actually was the engineer on the first demo I ever recorded. I don't think he recognised me, which is surprising since I've always had hair like this. So I kind of always look like this. A lovely guy. I do like that one. The main thing about that one is, though, it's got like a car park, whereas anywhere else in Berkeley, I'm finding myself going half an hour early every time just so I can get one of the coveted 10 spaces that it has outside it. If you're not, you have to pay on the street, and it's no longer free even at night. You have to put in money into the meter, and it's a nightmare. Man of courage and culture. Still get cheap booze. We can't really. Champagne, Lambrini. No, I don't think you got the cheap pricing thing. We've got there's some things the Scottish government has control of, and that's one of them. The other thing was the smoking ban. I know we're probably going back a bit now, but I think we had the smoking ban for like 5 years before England did. Yeah, sorry, I'm a wee bit behind now. Yeah, Dave said you idiot. Possibly. Yes, I don't know. A brain instead of courage. Was an eBay on Friday and a lad selling a Jag or a Jazzmaster wired by yourself and plugged the channel. East Kilbride, I think he was from. I remember doing yeah, brilliant. Cheers to whoever that man was. I'm trying to think if I've done a Jag or a Jag. I've done a few. I don't know if I've really done any mad wiring to it. Oh, I do seem to remember fixing one. It was a Japanese one, and it was basically the wiring was shot. I knew how to fix it. I fixed it. It was pretty easy to fix. And I was saying to the guy, it was really nice. It was this is like really, I can see myself buying one of these. And he's like, the guy was saying, either they're not that expensive now. They've kind of gone up a wee bit recently. They're not that much. And I was like, thinking, is it? How much? Is that you can get them for like 900 quid? And I was like, dang it, yeah. So I didn't even consider buying it because it's like twice what I would ever pay for a guitar. But could have been. Hey, Vince Van Eden, don't recognise your name, but welcome. And Edible Betty. Hi, Edible Betty. Are you looking forward to the new Maiden album? I get put off the Maiden albums. I was mad into them for a bit, I'd never really heard Maiden until they came out with Matter of Life and Death. I really liked the Dance of Death before it. I really liked the one after it, and then they did one where it sounded really muddy, Final Frontier or something, and then the one after that was like as a sort of voodoo thing going on. I wasn't as into that, so I don't know. I did actually, one of the adverts I got in, I wish it was my YouTube channel, it was someone else's YouTube channel, and it basically was, the advert was the video for whatever the first single is off the new album. It was like a sort of anime type thing, but that was like an advert. It was just like the pop video, and I really quite enjoyed it. So I don't know, I'll need to think about it. I'll probably listen to it rather than buy it. I do feel that the new Iron Maiden albums, ever since the Brave New World one, they are kind of dead similar. Really good though. Ace Lappensmith, not been playing any bass tonight. I've got one bass in the room. I'm going to always try and have a writing on the wall. I don't know if that was the one. I don't know if that was. I'm sure the one I saw was. It's got like it sounds a wee bit like a Japanese sword or something. It's like a pure Hayatayaka or Sayaka toe or something like that it's called. But it sounds great, yeah. I do like modern Maiden. Senjutsu, it wasn't that far off. I wish I wish my pal hadn't pointed out. Me and my pal were mad into Maiden when we went to that gig. This is obviously before lockdown. I used to drink every Wednesday night. I got a few of the DVDs, and he pointed out, which I'm probably going to ruin it for everyone, as well as ruin it anyway. Yeah, see, any of the modern, well, I'm saying anything past 2000 Iron Maiden DVDs, it's the bass player Steve Harris that edits it. And once somebody points out that the editing is every single drum beat, it changes frame, it becomes really difficult to watch it. It's like pure ding ding diddling, ding ding diddling, ding ding diddling, ding 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 diddling. Every one of these is a cut, so it's like and it's just, once you notice that, it's like every song, and it's like an hour and a half long DVD. It's like becomes pure. Oh God, can we just have like a shot that just plays like maybe 10, even just 10 seconds of a wide shot of the whole band, or as opposed to just being. It's like, I've got 25 cameras and I'm going to change every third beat no matter what. Really annoying. What did you know? I don't think I've missed something. Have you spent your youth in Glasgow as well? I spent my youth in Glasgow, yes. Yeah, I think I'm getting all caught up. I'm almost run out of things to say now. That don't ruin it for me. Harris has been into a lot of the stuff since Holy Smoke, I think, ages now. Another line to that Maiden Milk. Yeah, I suppose so. Holy Smoke. Maybe that was one of the very early. One of the first Iron Maiden I ever got was back in Asda used to sell music DVDs, and they were kind of cheaper, like a $10 or something. I bought the Iron Maiden, the early. No, it can't have been that video. It must have been something to do with the videos that had Holy Smoke on it. And I was like, yeah, we've got £25 to do a video. Let's do it. My favourite bit is Dave Murray standing playing his Stratocaster in a burn. Like, there's obviously like whatever farm it is they film it on. They've gone, we'll stand on this bridge, and you just stand down there in the stream. We call them burns. And it's just basically in his jeans, standing up to his knees, playing the solo. You're like, good stuff. I'm a lifetime Maiden fan. I missed them. We're going from when I was like 16 or 17. I had Number of the Beast because I liked the song Number of the Beast and also Run to the Hills, obviously. But it wasn't until many years later, my pal got a pile of records off his uncle or something, and one of them was Power Slave. And I put that on, and it was all good. Like, this is all good. Whereas for me, I know this is going to be pure disgusting to any Maiden fan, but I don't really like any of the other songs on Number of the Beast. There's like 2 songs that are pure belters, and the rest of it I'm kind of there's not really anything else that really jumped out at me. Whereas when I got Power Slave, it's just like pure wall-to-wall rockers, and most of their other albums as well. Hey, Sam Black. Back in Nam, you weren't there. Yeah. At 14, at Maiden headliner festival, Seventh Son era, amazing 1988. Well, I remember the T-shirts before I knew anything about Iron Maiden. I didn't know who or what they were, but I remember everyone having the T-shirts with Eddie the Head on it and wanting one of those T-shirts because they were cool. Well, yeah, Hellbound, just like you're sticking on Iron Maiden. You got to influence your kids early, I suppose. Apparently, I used to bang my head on the side of the cot rhythmically, and Mum thought I was going to be a drummer. And I do remember, I was actually thinking about this the other day. I used to play drums in the kitchen, like sit on the floor with like metal pots and pans and wooden spoons, and just batter them, which must have sounded atrocious. I do remember one time trying to have a jam with my pals, must have been 17, 18, something like that, right at my house. I was like, oh, there was too many people playing. I was like, you're right, go get pots and pans, we can use them as drums. And no, somebody trying to play drums on a pot with a wooden spoon does not. It's like, you can imagine the intro to the song, sort of like, let's get some chords. Bang! 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 It just completely ruined it all. Yeah, the T-shirts, the cult, the late 80s, the 90s, yes. I wasn't aware of it. I was actually told one time, I was still at secondary school, must have been 12 or 13, saying I wanted talking to my pal Aaron, I wanted an Iron Maiden T-shirt. And it was like, you can't, if you'll get beaten up if you go to an Iron Maiden show if you don't have long hair. I was told. So oh, really? Wow. Obviously, what a load of rubbish. If you're at an Iron Maiden show, it's kind of the same with so many bands you go and see. If you go and see them, then whoever the scary looking person is going to go up here. You like this band too? You're all right. So you end up just having none of some bad people. Oh. Derek Riggs, a big part of the draw. I don't know who Derek Riggs is. I kind of missed. Iron Maiden were they were doing after what's Holy Smoke? It's 92 or 3 or something. That's kind of when I was about. So I don't think Bruce was in the band by the time I was at the age to listen to Iron Maiden, and he came back in 2000. By that point, I was 20, 22. So okay. Artist did the Maiden art. There you go. I've never heard the name David Riggs. There you go. Killers and Peace of Mind. Peace of Mind's another one. That's not one of my favourites. I mean, I'll absolutely, totally love the first album. I love Power Slave. I love Somewhere in Time, Seventh Son of a Seventh Son, Dance of Death. I really dig those ones. Peace of Mind's, I feel, is a wee bit like, I don't get shot for this, but a wee bit like Number of the Beast. It's got a couple of pure belters on it, and the ones that aren't the pure belters are kind of a bit just not up to the modern bands and their idiots fly kicking people in the face in mosh pits. Yes, I mean, I did go and see Babymetal 2018 at Download, where I'm in the video for their song Distortion, and I got kicked in the head, not joking, minimum of 20 times by crowd surfers. Yeah. Paul Daniel was a singer for them. He was the first 2 albums. The first album I bought because I found it for £1 or something. I thought, it doesn't have Bruce in it. It's not going to be any good. I just thought it was fantastic. The first album, it just sounded so in your face. I bought Killers after that, and I can't remember Killers. I'm sure it's not as good as the first one. I don't think the first one's one of those albums you put on for the first time hearing it, and as soon as you're through the first side, it's like, turn it over, see what the other side's like. Yeah, can't remember. Female friends get their noses busted because I don't know. Yeah, Stratton on guitar. You're going back beyond me. I wasn't there. I mean, what's the first album's 1980? Is it earlier than that? That's when I was born. I was born 78, so I don't remember that. Hey, Ruben, you're back from your rehearsal. Assuming, were you not commenting with a different name a minute ago? I was an 80s kid, but I was an 80s kid as in I was a kid, not a drinking and listening to music kid. I was like watching, I don't know, TV, playing Sega Master System and Atari ST. Yeah, I do think the first Maiden album is an absolute stonker. I can't play any of it. Dennis Stratton. The name does ring a bell. I don't know. I was watching Joy Division live. Thought my playing sucked. It's intentional though with Joy Division. I never understood that stuff. And now it's like see when you're, I don't know, 14, 15, 16, when you start becoming a person, there's so much music you have to try and zone in on something that you like. You can't just like everything because it's just too much. Now once we're old, now I've got time to maybe try listening to funk or try listening to, I was going to say jazz there, but not jazz. I'm not that old. You know, it's like you maybe try some different things. But Joy Division, I don't know, they were kind of wanting the worst sounds ever, and there are bits of it I like. I watched a program. Were they on that? I don't have any Joy Division record, but I mean, I'm constantly aware that I don't want to commit myself to anything because I might change my mind. I've changed my mind with lots of bands where I've not liked it. I suppose kind of Iron Maiden were a wee bit like that as well. So I've not liked it. Then I've heard that song that's suddenly gone, oh, that's yes, that's me. It happens with a lot of things. Just kind of gradually. Once you realise you don't have to be cool, although I was always anti-cool, so that's why I hated the Stone Roses and the things that everyone else liked. I was really disappointed when Oasis came out and they started referencing the Beatles, and all these people were going, "Oh, I quite like the Beatles," and you're like, I knew the Beatles before fucking Oasis told you they were cool. Bastards. Running Free. That first Unknown Pleasures. I don't know, is that Joy Division? I mean, we're already into territories that I don't understand with Joy Division. I think maybe I only like people forgot about the Beatles, so you can like them again. I never ever think of forget about the Beatles, or will they? I don't know. People just listen to auto-tune 4-chord songs. Nothing wrong with a 4-chord song, but the auto-tuning thing, I just feel there's nothing in it. It's kind of all right when you can use the auto-tune to do something stupid like that. What's that Cher song? If you be that is not auto-tune. That is the same machine that does the auto-tuning, but they're using it as an effect. That's totally fine, but using it to try and catch it out, it just sounds, I don't know. I mean, to be honest, I don't listen to music anymore. Any modern stuff. The only band I like now is Babymetal. I don't know if I want to look up to the Spotify's top 10. It might really upset me. The problem is I like pop music, like see ABBA and 70s pop music. I like a good song. I don't care if it's pop music or not. But Sam Black's Sisters of Mercy. I don't know, but Dava, my pal's mad into Sisters of Mercy. I did watch a bit of a video. I think it was at the Barras, and the guitarist and the bass player were both using Aria Pro guitars. It didn't do it. I can't remember it. That's like the thing, you listen to music and it's like the first time I heard A Whole Lot of Love, I remembered it. The first time I heard Purple Haze, I remember the first time I heard War Pigs, it was like pure whoa. And it's like if nothing catches me, it's like if it's kind of, doesn't have to be, if it's pure shocking, I might remember it. If it's pure amazing, I remember it. If it's something in the middle, I just generally, I've got a lot of records like that where I've put them on. It's the same in films. Put a record on, listen to the first side. What happened in that? I can't really remember. Must be rubbish time. Same with like any Marvel film, really. I keep watching them, and then you get to the end, you go, "Oh, I quite enjoyed that," and then you think, "What actually happened in it?" I can't remember. Kind of like that. Real pop music. Take a small risk. I know what you mean. If you just keep doing the same old treaded stuff, you end up with nothing. I don't know, Blacktooth, have you ever heard Babymetal? Look them up because they don't do anything. They're the ultimate. Well, it's the producer guy's the guy who masterminds it all, but it's like, you know, they're not doing anything you've heard before, which is just like pure perfect for me. Bands need to have songs that last 10 minutes or 15 that are straight. I don't know. Yeah, the thing, I'm actually in a band. The first one I've been in 20 years. We're actually writing original material, and all the songs are coming out at being 2.5, 3 minutes long. And it's a strange thing because it means we're having to write an awful lot more songs. You know, we've done 10 or something, and we're sitting there not even got a half-hour set yet. Whereas if we just extended them, but we're like a three-piece, we got guitar, bass, drums, and a singer, and it just seems that that's really all the song wants to have. So rather than producing 10-minute long songs, it works sometimes. I mean, I noticed that obviously I'm in a Black Sabbath band, so I kind of feel a wee bit sorry for Brian, the singer, like doing War Pigs and stuff, because it really is a bit of singing, bit of a solo, bit of singing, and then a 5-minute where he's just got to wave his arms about. So I feel a wee bit sorry about that. So you kind of just want it punchy, especially if you're doing a half-hour thing. And saying that, I used to be in a band called The Blind Dog who covered Caravan songs, and we did a medley of 9 Feet Underground. If you're into the band, you'll know what this means. 9 Feet Underground, ending with For Richard. So I remember playing a gig in Bannerman's in Glasgow where we played one song, Winter Wine, and I sang it, and I said, "Right now it's time for our last song," because it was half an hour long, and we overran our half-hour time slot. Lucretia, My Reflection. I've never heard of him. I do think beyond prog metal and rock, there's no expectation, But say that used to be in pop. That's what you see when you listen to like ABBA. Like pretty much all their songs, even the really cheesy ones, have all got amazing changes in them, and they're musically fantastic. Even though it is, you suddenly go, "Oh, this is SOS or whatever." SOS is amazing. When you're gone, dun dun dun, that's metal. Detonation Boulevard. I don't know what that is. Almost like 4/4 key. Well, I don't. The thing is, you can still be in 4/4 but play in a funny place. So it can be 4/4, but you're playing ahead of the beat, and then it switches to be behind the beat. That counts as a change, even though they're both in 4/4. Sisters of Mercy were heavily influenced by Pete Murphy. Don't know who that is, and Bauhaus. Don't know who that is. I was telling someone how lucky I was to have grown up when there was really good music in the charts. Duran Duran, awesome. Didn't like it at the time because I was 6. Well, no, because they always had. When was? Am I getting Duran Duran? No, Duran Duran was Dancing to the Fire. Obviously, the music I liked when I was a kid was from films like Live and Let Die. Was one of my favourite songs. I didn't know who Paul McCartney and Wings were, and Conan the Barbarian, Flash Gordon, Krull. If anyone's ever heard Krull, that was the music that got me. That was what I listened to, what was in my head the whole time, because I didn't really know anything about pop music. It was really Paint It Black by the Stones, which really brought me into the, what's this pop music thing? This is as good as the Superman theme, example, things like that. It must be really different, but the thing is, you've got to remember, Blacktooth is like, I mean, we're going back probably 10, 15 years now. I remember going back, and there's a coal bin near where we used to have my band used to have a studio. We had like an old nail factory room as a studio, and we were up on top of this coal bin, and there was kids, I don't know, 16, 17, out on this coal bin, drinking their bottle of bucky and stuff like that. We were just having a joint and drinking bottles of bucky, and they had like a CD ghetto blaster thing, and they were listening to, I think it was an MP3 thing he'd made up, and it was like, techno music, dance music, and then there'd be a Beatles song, and then there'd be a Fleetwood Mac song, and then it'd be that. And you're like, because they didn't have to pay for any of this stuff, they could just listen to anything. It was just music to them. Whereas when I grew up, you had to commit to something. You could either get tapes of things off your pals or lunge in. You're talking about spending 10, 12, 15 quid, which was a lot of money still for an album of a band you didn't know. You were never going to do that. That was why I ended up where I am, because I was buying records. So I was going in and buying 6 records for a fiver was quite a common one. So I get 6 records for a fiver, and like one of them would be, AC/DC or something like that, and then the other ones would just be like because of the cover. And I ended up finding some amazing stuff, but that was because I figured that if one of these was right for a fiver and paying a fiver, and if I get one good album, we're rocking. And that's what I ended up finding Camel and Caravan and I don't know, Budgie and basically all the stuff I like most. But it must be amazing here having it. It must be amazing sticking on the radio and hearing good music. I don't know, just because I've never. It depends on your situation. I was working as a removals man for a bit, and during that time there were 2 songs that were on the radio all the time. It was Poker Face by Lady Gaga and All the Single Ladies by Beyonce, and I ended up really liking both those songs. So there is an element of, if you hear something once and you don't absolutely love it or absolutely hate it, you can grow to like it. If you absolutely despise it first time, every time you hear it, it gets worse. For me, Oasis, and it works that way. Whereas some things you end up, and it's not necessarily the bands. It's like you're just producers and a singer type thing. I don't know. I'm assuming Madonna, Lady Gaga, all that sort of stuff. I'm sure there's good stuff in there. Oh, well done. Back to loving Babymetal. My favourite band forever. Well, since Black Sabbath. Oh, I'm getting a bit cut up. Like Sam Black, what is Babymetal? Oh, look up Gimme Chocolate. It's 3. There's various things on my wall. Most of the posters are. Well, I bought a magazine that had posters in it. It's a mental thing. It's 3. Well, originally it was like 3 wee girls singing and dancing to pure brutal heavy metal, but you've got like a brutal heavy metal verse, and then it's pure ABBA for the chorus with Japanese high singing in it, and then it does something else. It's progger than anything you've ever progged. Give Me Chocolate sounds like that's one of the songs I could probably play a little bit of. I'll try and catch up first, then I'll have an attempt at it. The rest of the song, whatever sounds right. Okay. It kind of depends, Hellbound, when you're talking about. Depends what the song is, though. Like I can't imagine Flight of the Snow Goose by Camel being less than what it is. Well, it's really just one song. It's a whole record. It's like it's such a grand concept. Whereas if you're just writing, I Want to Hold Your Hand, and that's what the song's about, it can't be more than 3 minutes. It can't be a 7-minute epic. Do you know what I mean? With different movements and stuff. Music and high culture all intertwined. Who would imagine such a thing like Warhol and Velvet Underground? Well, violent hippies would never left again. Yeah. Maybe you should have been drinking a bit more Bucky, and then maybe you would have left the garage and gone out and done some actual violence. You may cringe, but I recently took out like some of the Police songs. I only last year, the year before, heard the Police song Synchronicity, because someone had sent a video. It's like the Andy Summers, the guitarist, is playing like a guitar. It kind of looks like a skeleton. But that song is amazing in the video. They're kind of dressed like Mad Max. Oh, they always liked So Lonely. And some of the good, the sort of the poppy ones, but when it got to the later synthesizer stuff, but Synchronicity is pure amazing. Hey, Jess. Almost catching up. I think the only thing to cringe about with the Police is Sting is a bit of a dick. But I mean, fair enough. I really know Sting mostly from Dune, the film. Whereas a bit when he appears, he comes out like a sort of transporter, like from Star Trek, apart from there's lots of dry ice, and he's just wearing these metal pants, and he's all oiled up, and it's like, yep, that's Sting. That's fine. Leopard eyebrows. I'm in a band playing original stuff, Stuart, so it's hard to secure gigs. The cover bands are much more preferred, I can understand, but very frustrating. See, I was told when I was the band Cranking House I'm in, we were just going to be a pub covers band. I only joined because I've got so many guitars. I figured, playing songs and actually get to play a guitar. I could take a different guitar in every week for 4 years and never take the same one in twice, which I've been kind of doing. And we got a sort of set almost ready, and the drummer and the singer tried to find gigs, and they found that they could only find gigs for one, tribute bands, as in we're a Black Sabbath band, we're a Led Zeppelin, we're a Foo Fighters band, or original stuff. There was no pub covers bands gig slots available anywhere. We just couldn't get them. So that was when Pat was like, up here, well, do you want to try and maybe write our own songs? It was like, yes, because it came into, I don't mind, I like writing riffs and stuff, but I can't do whole songs. And he's a singer, so I could just come in and go, got this riff, what do you think? And then suddenly the following week it had words and a bass line. It was amazing fun. The thing is that, see, although I'm in after the end Black Sabbath tribute band, I don't like watching tribute bands. I've never really enjoyed it. I think it always goes back to, I think the second gig I ever went to was the Australian Doors in the Barras, and I was really disappointed because it wasn't the Doors. Whereas I saw the Doors, and it doesn't matter because it didn't have any original people in it. Just like just not there. Walking on the Moon. Told me yesterday, right when you took your heart away, you know that it can't come true. Let go without the broken rule. So lonely, so lonely, so lonely, so lonely, so lonely. Yeah, so that's the only reggae I like is the Police, and they've got the greatest hits is amazing. I wish I could play Synchronicity, but look up Synchronicity, it's awesome. You start as a ska band, possibly, yeah. God, I failed this player. It's like I'm a bass player. I know I play guitar most of the time, but I mean, I'm a bass player who also plays guitar. Oh, sorry, Craig. I saw that earlier on and managed to skip past it. Aria Max series, Natural Biscuit, 80 quid. For 80 quid, I bet you it's amazing. You're talking about, it's a super strat though, isn't it? I'm not that keen on the sort of 90s super strat, but I think my pal Alan, who's in Anthrax and Anthrax tribute band, had a Max. No, it was an MG series. It was really good, but it was like an Ibanez RG type thing. 80 quid. I don't know. See, I'm in a weird situation just now because I'm buying guitars. I only want to buy guitars that I can fix up and sell. I don't want to buy guitars for me because I've got too many. Occasionally that slips. And I mean, it does. There's an Ibanez bass I didn't buy last week, which I really, really like the look of. But I'm not sure I could have moved on. You know, the price it was at was kind of like, obviously there becomes a point where any guitar, I'm going to sit there and go up here, what, 30 quid for that? Yeah. But I mean, you know, if once you start getting up over 100 quid, I've got to be one that I can sell and make money on or enjoy having for a bit, decide whether I want to keep it or not. But I mean, I bet you the Aria Max series are good. It'll be the same as a £400 or £500 guitar just now for 80 quid. It doesn't have the kudos that I'm saying kudos pointing to Phil. This has obviously got zero kudos. Oh, maybe, I don't know. Maybe people would now be thinking, well, it's vintage. There you go, 2000. So it's 21 years old. So it's a proper vintage, excellent quality guitar. You know, Seymour Duncan's a standard. Really tasteful, massive mother of pearl eagle on it. Binding like nothing else. Yeah, so Before I'm going to, I'm drunk, so I'm I used to be going. No, I can't play. Babymetal, give me chocolate. It's too hard. This is one of those ones that I've really just got to have a stab at it, and maybe I'll get the first one. So, no, I'm sorry. I can't. I don't want to ruin Babymetal for everyone. My main problem with Babymetal is they do an awful lot of down tuning. I've got 8 strings, 9 strings, whatever it is, and I can't play that. I don't like any of the music really that has that in it. But they go into genres, because I was saying they're kind of mishmash. So you'll get reggae for the MIDI, and then it'll be back into grindcore, or like pure Sepultura, or worse than that. And some things I don't really get, but I can totally handle it for the riff, because I love the riff. The riff's amazing, and it's got a really melodic vocal line sang by a little Japanese girl, Sue Metal, on top of that, and it just makes it so accessible for me. And then it does something else. So there's all these different types of metal that I get to see at like Download Festival. But the band comes on, first song, halfway through it, this is amazing. The second half of the first song, you're like, I'm kind of bored of this new thing, and the second song is that again, and then the third song, you're like, I'm bored of this now. Whereas Babymetal has it as like, that's just the first half of one song, and then the rest of the album doesn't have anything like that. Mental. Do you still sell guitars on eBay? I haven't sold any guitars on eBay for a while. They changed everything. It's had something. I had to sign up to some eBay payment scheme where I think they've somehow managed to get more percent off you. Whereas it used to be you had to pay your final seller fee and to PayPal. Whereas now they've managed to get it so you don't use PayPal anymore. You get the PayPal fee and an eBay special, super easy to use. It's not super easy to use thing. I got stung a couple of times on eBay selling guitars, because you think, right, got this awesome guitar, it's worth 150 quid, right? It might get more than that on eBay if I put it on auction. So you put it on starting at 60 quid, thinking it's going to create a massive stir. I'll put it on so it ends after wages. Everyone's been paid on the Thursday, coming on the Sunday, 7 o'clock at night, and then it goes for 70 quid, and you just go, damn it. So I don't do that anymore. I now I bid on those ones, but I don't sell them. Now I put them on for, say I'm selling this guitar. How much would I say this guitar is worth? This is a £300 guitar, so I put it on for 375 or best offer. And then a lot of people will look at it, even not really knowing what it is. They'll go 375. Oh, it's quite interesting. I'll offer 320. And you just go, ha ha, sucker! I'd only wanted 300 for it. The thing is, it cuts away at you, because it says to you on eBay, it's like, yes, why not offer free postage? That makes it sell better. Okay. So the 20% you're taking is now all inclusive. So instead of, say you're selling it for 100 quid, £20 postage, they'd be getting 20 quid of that. But, if you offered free postage and sold it for 120, they're getting 122 quid for that. Great. I drove up to The Hague today. Why should I know what The Hague is? What is The Hague? I've had guitars for free before as well. But sometimes you just want to, I can understand it. It's like it's going to somebody who will appreciate it. I mean, I've bought, like, see, my Ibanez Blazer there. I paid a pathetic amount for that. And the guy, when I had to drive, it came up on Gumtree. It was actually guitarist Craig Cheers who sent me the link. And I was like, oh man, that's totally going to be sold by now. It's only 8 minutes long. It's only 8 minutes old, the advert. by the time I got to It's Only 8, I was already dialing in the number. So I booked it. The guy was like, "Up here, yeah. I think you're going to make quite a killing in this guitar. I've had like 40 phone calls since I put it on." And I was like, "No, it's not. I'm not. That's not for making a killing. That's for me." And I promised him. No, I was never going to sell it anyway because it's amazing. But I could have. I saw one. The last one I saw was I could paint it properly rather than painting it silly. But the last one of them I saw was a 90s reissue, and it was like 500 quid, and that's like a 4 times 5. That's a 20-fold increase, and it's the second top of the range one. So I kind of made my 22,000% profit on it, but it's going to somebody that I like it, and I feel that I find that with selling guitars as well. I will, unless I'm absolutely gagging for money, I have not sold people guitars because I just don't like them. Like, see, if anyone's if you're ever thinking of buying a guitar off me, say I've got a guitar X, £100, right? If you send me a text message, your opening text message is 60. No, I'm not even going to reply to that. You can't even be bothered saying hello. It's like, no, it's like, and also people who call me mate when I don't know them. All right, mate, you take 40 for it, and it's like, well, I've got it on at 120, so you're offering me a third of what it's worth. I know what it is. I know it's worth 120 quid. So, and it comes to just getting somebody that you know. And I'd much rather sell things to people who I think not just deserve it. It's like there's a wee bit of a vetting process. It's like, do you get a Buckycaster? I've got to like you, otherwise you're not getting it. Because you could try giving me and I'll just be like, right, you're not getting it. Nobody that's not cool has a Buckycaster. It's my life goal. Your life goal? I can help you out with your life goal. I don't actually. In fact, where did you say you were in the Midlands? See if you go to Colville, which I believe is in the Midlands, just north of Leicester. There's a shop that actually has an Iron Brew, the Iron Brew Van Halen, the only one I will ever do. It's an amazing guitar. The reason I didn't sell it was because I gave it to my pal Wayne to sell in his shop, because picking this guitar and playing it, you would just think it was an American Strat. It's that quality. It's totally ridiculously amazing. But originally it said Encore on it. Yeah, so it's a cheap Encore. Oh, I remember them being in Argos for 40 quid. Yes, you do. Not this model. So I figured because it's in a shop, people will actually go in, play it and go, what? This is only 120 quid? This is better than anything I can pick up in the big guitar shop around the corner for 400. It's like pure. That's why I did it that way. Hey, Vinyl Restorer. Oh, you were talking to me the other day about something about Walter Carlos. I can't remember what the point was. I was going to say something and I thought it was something cheesy. And I thought your name's Vinyl Restorer, so you know, like how a good record player makes a difference. Yeah, no, I'll do you. Keep an eye out. These things. I mean, it's like if you watch these things, you will see. There is a Buckfast Telecaster, which I have. It's kind of ready to go. I need to play it for a couple of hours. It's like you can't, when you build a guitar from scratch, it needs a half an hour or an hour fidgeting with it, and then it needs me to do a video for half an hour, because during that video I will play everything and sort out what's not perfect. Oh. I have to admit, I have a low budget guitar that's been worked out and modded. There's nothing quite like it. Yes. Well, it's the low budget thing is you get it. It's never going to look. You're always going to be able to look at the wood and say, "Oh, that's a more expensive guitar." You're looking at a £2,000 Fender. It's always going to look nicer than I was going to say the £200 Squire, but they're both the same company, so they've got a vested interest to make sure that the cheap ones don't look better or as good as the expensive ones. Whereas when you go into, which I'm was talking about to Craig there earlier on about the Aria Pro, they're not competing with a more expensive version, so they can just put out the best guitar they can for 300 quid. So you get the best guitar you can possibly build for 300 quid. Whereas if you buy a Fender or an Epiphone, or a Squire or an Epiphone, you've got a guitar that's the best guitar that's for 300 quid, but we're being very, very careful to make sure it's not too good so you don't not buy the £600 version that we also sell. Whereas if you get their smaller, like something like this, Phil, this would be the absolute top of the range, and I'm assuming whatever it was, I can't remember how much Civet said, I think we're talking about 450 quid, something like that for this, for the absolute top of the range. It's miles better than most guitars. Oh, Blacktooth, I'm really upset about Pontiac disappearing. He was cool. I hope I was worried about it. I mean, actually, he asked me. He said something about but the reason I've got all these maple necks out. He says up here, yeah, you can totally tell the difference between like a one-piece maple neck and one that's got a cap on it, and saying that they sound great. And I was up here, wow, never really thought about it. I think his point was more along the lines of, if you go back 10 or 20 years, when you were buying like original Fender Telecasters, it meant the difference between being a 10 grand Telecaster and a 2 grand Telecaster. Because, you know, the one-piece maple neck is the correct way of doing it. I mean, I looked at it as a total, I don't know. Maybe if you can tell the difference, good, fair on you. I'm willing to admit that my ears don't work as well as a lot of people who know much more what they're doing. I bought an EQ pedal and tried to do a video of it the other day, and it's like, yeah, I can hear it's doing something that's just too much for me. Scared. So I just returned it to the shop because I didn't. It's too much for me. It's a shame. I don't know. I mean, a bit contrary. I don't believe tone makes a huge difference. The quality of setup and playing makes more of a difference, in my opinion. Yes, I know. Yeah, but it comes down to when I had my original Epiphone SG 400, G400, the Samick one. When I bought my Gibson one, the Epiphone one's a better guitar than the Gibson. The Gibson's got better pickups in it. But it wasn't set up because I didn't know what a truss rod was. I didn't know, you know, it's like it'd been dropped, and, you know, it's like all these things to work it in. Yes, there is a point where it doesn't work though, if you buy something too cheap. But once you get up to a couple of, well, what is now a modern couple of hundred quid, you should be able to get like a proper gigging recording as good as you can get within reason guitar. I mean, you can give one of the legends, you know, like, I don't know, Richie Blackmore or Angus Young or something, any of these guitars that I've got hanging on the wall there, and they will sound fucking 20 times better than me playing a £10,000 Gibson or a £10,000. They will, because it's better. There's such a small percentage of it is how good the guitar is, assuming the guitar works. Like once you get up to the point where it's not fretting out anywhere, you know, the pickups pick up all the strings, including the high E. You know, it's like you've got an amp that, you know, didn't, you know, records all the things. I hope I've not lost Pontiac. Well, I don't think I was. I hope I wasn't too offensive about it. I don't know, but I mean, the thing is, I'm not. It's not like I can't tell the difference between. I mean, even it's like the long scale, like the 25.5-inch scale, or the 24 3/4. It's like, you can give me the guitar and I can give you a guess. Hand me a guitar, I'm not sure what it is, and I'll go, oh, is it? Oh, I'm not betting more than £1 on being right. I don't know. There's so many other variables in there that it doesn't make sense. I don't try and be subtle on here. I don't know what subtlety is. It's got a B in it. Don't forget the pedals. Yeah, well, I'm not a pedal fan either. It's kind of, it's a funny one. The whole Pontiac hasn't sorted off though. You never know about these people. It could be on holiday or something. If he's watching this, I'm sorry, man. I hopefully wasn't. And maybe there is a difference. I can't tell, but I don't reckon. I'm not even sure I could tell the difference. Like if you handed me the guitars, I'd really like to do that sometime. The problem is you can't do it with my guitars because I would know them all because all the guitars I've got are vintage. So I'll go, well, here we go. We've got, this Washburn and this Washburn, which are both the same shape. Which one's which? Well, that one's got a V-neck. I know it's that one. I know that one's got a V-neck. And that one's got a slight V-neck. Well, all right, it's up here. I will be up here. Haha. Dent. It's really dented. This must be the area, not the... So my guitar doesn't work, whereas with new guitars, I don't think I could tell. I'm not even sure. Let's be honest, if you blindfolded me and gave me two Telecasters that were identical guitars, I could tell if you gave me one with humbuckers in it and one with single coils in it, which was which, if you let me hear both. But if you just gave me one of them and then said, is it the humbucker one or the or the single coil one? Can I try the other one? No. It would be a guess. I don't know. I've heard a 200 quid Strat copy that sounds as good as a custom shop official one. If there's so much more in the plane, it doesn't. Yeah, it's like I don't think you'll find a 200 quid Strat copy by Squire that sounds as good as a £2,000 custom shop one, because they're both the same company, so they're kind of curtailed. But I think once you're into the unknown brands, the ones that don't have a bigger company to try and sell you, your Arias, Washburn, I don't even know what's kicking about just now, try to think of them. SX, you find, have you seen SX guitars? They are significantly better than their price should be. Basically, you look at an SX guitar, okay, I'm going back a couple of years, the last time I saw them, an SX Strat, like 120 quid, is the same as a £250 Squire. The difference being the £250 Squire will be worth 200 quid a year later. The SX one will be worth 50 quid because it's thingy. But the SX are awesome, but they've just struggled from the whole. There's all these companies that start up thinking they're looking at guitars and they're going, oh, hold on, these guys are producing, oh, look, a Stratocaster, a Squire Strat. We can do a better guitar for that for the same price. We can do a guitar that's twice as good as that for the same price. Yes, you can. Go try it. 3 years later, companies bust because people want a Squire that says Fender on it. It doesn't matter how good it is, especially these days when folk are just buying shit off the internet. You're looking at pictures of it. I bought an Epiphone, or my pal, in fact, the same guy bought the Epiphone Explorer, bought an SG P90s. Green, not the colour I would have chosen, wraparound tailpiece. The Pelham blue one, I seriously, when it came out, thought, I might buy that. It was fucking awful. It was a cheap bastard guitar. It was a Woody or a Clancy, whatever they're called. It was that. It was a £100 guitar, but it was 350 quid because it was an Epiphone SG with P90s in it. It was pish. And fair enough, the one I had, the frets, it was maybe a really bad option. The frets were awful, but even just looking at it, the wood was pure anemic and cheap. It was a horrible guitar. And saying that is now a cheap guitar. Oh, I bought a cheap guitar just to throw away one. Oh, how much was your cheap guitar? 350 quid. 350 quid's not a cheap guitar, mate. You know what I mean? I think when you're saying the aesthetics, I think a lot of it's to do with what the guitar. I mean, that's what I'm trying. I said earlier on, I'm not that keen on super Strats. They're amazing guitars. I put my Washburn away. I've got a Washburn Super Strat. It's fantastic, but it's not. It's just not Black Sabbath. It's just not the Beatles, is it? So I'm not gonna. It doesn't inspire me the same way as. Let's be honest, an SG is my favorite looking guitar. So I mean, I've got anything for an SG will just be like pure. It only has to be 3/4 as good for me to like it as much as another one. A little bit comes from that with the Telecaster as well. I love Telecasters. I mean, I've got Telecasters I like better than this, and this is a better guitar than the. I mean, whatever you go to. Oh, I think you're fine. Sorry, I'm getting a wee bit behind. I don't think Pontiac's fucked off. I think he's just. I hope I wasn't. I didn't mean to slag him off. Some are very good clones of very good pedals. I have a couple. Oh, you're talking about the Behringer there? Behringer are good. The S6 guitars are very good, yes. The Boss Hyper Fuzz. Are you talking? I've missed out a wee bit. Is this the Behringer Super Fuzz that somebody mentioned? The Behringer Super Fuzz SF300? Yes, it is the Behringer Super Fuzz SF300 I've got. And I'm going to go against the grain and say I can't really get it. See, I think the problem is it's got like an options slider on the side where you've got like normal fuzz, another version of fuzz, and boost. But you've got normal fuzz and you can wedge it between. So I've already got 3 options. Plus I've got bass, middle, volume, and fuzz. It's too much. I'm sure it does everything. I just get scared off of it. I much prefer my Delamo pedal, which is just like a crap. It's just a broken sounding. Turn it on. I've got no sound. There's not a quality fuzz pedal when you just hit it and it comes back on again. That's right, I'm drunk, can't play the guitar. Yeah. The people, we're talking about the fuzz thing, the Behringer pedals, people just look at them and go, the first comment you always get is, oh, it's got a plastic container, which, yes, it does. That I reckon that only saves a couple of quid off it. That's not really the point. I think there's something, see, I've got something, see the buffer system that's in Boss pedals, I can hear it being not, it doesn't sound like a really bad recording of Deep Purple in 1970, which is sound I want, just the guitar sound, not the rest of it, but it's like, it doesn't sound like that because it's got some sort of boosty thing in it. I don't have any buffer pedals because I don't know. Hold on, I'm getting a bit far behind now. Getting caught up. Oh, getting caught up. Oh, right, I'll rapid through some. £100 Ibanez short scale bass. Ibanez are always good. Hellbound. It's like this. I'm going to try and rap through these. If you sound awful, they're not. It's not their fault. Yeah, I remember looking at there's a GHS pedals video where I think it's called "What's the Deal with Behringer," and he's talking about it, and he's just like, that picture's the same as the Boss one for most of them. If you look at the thing is, if you start looking at Behringer pedals, it starts getting a bit silly, especially now. I think I don't know if you can. It used to just be Thomann you could get them from, whereas now because of Brexit, they kind of started making them at a normal guitar shop, so you can really pick up everything apart from reverbs like under 20 quid. So you're talking about, oh, it's a big pile of pedals. You buy 3 or 4, it's only like 60, 70 quid. You're like, more money to connect them together, I suppose. Catch you later, Hellbound. Sorry, I've missed you. I'm not a pedal guy. Boss Hyperfuzz, it was hated at the time. Yeah. Glary, I'm a wee bit behind him. No, not that far behind. It's cool. Glary Telecasters, are they any good, do you think? I don't know. There's a guy, if you're in Glasgow just now, there's a guy, he's actually in Alloa. So just to the right of Stirling, to the east of Stirling. Stephen Goodward, lovely guy. I've sold him a few guitars. He's selling like about 10 guitars, and they're all really good looking. One of them is a Glary thin line Telecaster. I think it's only 50 quid, and it's bloody tempting. It's got a horrible headstock on it. It's like it would need to be cut down, but fantastic. Have a look at his. He's also selling I'm telling you guys, because I've decided I'm not buying anything more for myself. He's got, a Gibson RD bass is. He's got one of them. It's Bullet, B-O-U-L-T. It's made by, so it's like a Chinese one. 75 quid, man. It looks amazing. If you're a Nirvana fan, I'm sure he's one of the few folk that actually played one. He's got like 10 guitars. You still have that bass that was maybe on top of the pops? Yes, I do. Yes, I'm never selling that ever. The Schecter P bass. Yes, no, that's a keeper. That's why I don't have any more P basses. Why I've never kept any of the Squire P basses or the Hondos. The thing about P basses is I've had so many really good P basses because a P bass is quite simple to get. So the only ones I've still got that are P basses, apart from the two Schecters, because the Schecters are pure top of the shelf stuff. Nowadays, $5,000 type guitars. I've got occasional ones like that. I've kept that one because it's got that pickup combination. I didn't do that. So it's worthy and it's got a pointy headstock, so it's a bit more. But I generally don't keep any more P basses because I've already got the two I wanted. Same with I've got the one I wanted. The one that was on top of the pops was a bonus one. Same with an SG. I've never bought another SG since I bought my SG Special when I was 18 or 19 when I bought that, and it's like that was the one I wanted, a red SG Special. I've got no need for another one. I've got the one I had before, the Epiphone one, but I've had other ones that I've done up and sold, but never actually bought one for myself. What was that Marshall you had in the unboxing video? It was a Marshall MG15. And what a fantastic, I actually did a video for it that I've not put out yet. Fantastic little amp. If anyone's after a wee amp for the house, you've got your gigging rig, you've got your JCM 800 with your 4x12 for gigging, but when you're sitting in the house, you just want an MG15. Fantastic little amp. It was actually guy, I really feel bad about forgetting people's names. I talked to so many folk online about guitars though. Just lives up the road. Oh man, I feel really bad not remembering his name. Stephen, no, I don't even want to get it wrong. But he dug it out. It's been in his loft for 20 years, and it was his pal's daughter was learning to play or something. I've got a wee Marshall amp. Got it out. Thought I'll just check it, see if it's working. Plugged it in, and it was like pure all over the place. Basically, I had to take it to bits, scoosh all the pots with contact cleaner, and resolder the master volume control because it was sort of coming off. So basically, all I did was like cloudy solder, so I just heated it up so it went shiny again, and it pure works perfectly. Fantastic little guitar. It's not worth any money really. I know 20, 30 quid or something like that, but I kind of want it to go to somebody who needs that amp because it could be fucking amazing. I would absolutely have loved to have that. See, when I was 20, so I pure this up. Yes, it would have been amazing. Fantastic, even digital effects on it. Yeah. Big silver jobby with a Cosm engine. Jobby here in Glasgow, jobby means a jobby as a shite, really. But I've been trying to work out a Boss GT10, a floorboard thing, PC interface is supposed to be easy. It's probably really easy if you're into the programming thing. I've actually got the chap who bought me my Bucky tonight. Was part of the deal. He gave me some Yamaha Magic Stomps, which are, I don't know, 90s, I'm assuming, maybe something like that, like effects unit things. It's kind of your multi effects. But if you look them up on eBay, they're really damn expensive. And I managed to get. He gave me 3 of them not working. I've managed to cobble together 2 that work out of the 3 that didn't work. And it just sounds horrible to me because I don't want it to sound like an 80s effects unit. But apparently these things were used by Alan Holdsworth and go for mega money. And you can USB program whatever you wanted. So you can have the bass one or the acoustic one or the electric one, but you can totally make each one. So yeah, I've got the electric one. I wish I had it for the bass. Although it still says acoustic on the casing, you can download stuff which makes it the bass one or makes it the acoustic one, plus people put their own stuff in. Mental stuff. It's just, I'm not in. I love. The next time I thought we were in the studio on Friday night with Crankenhouse. We weren't. I'm going to take in my Shocking Bird, which is a single Telecaster bridge pickup, a volume control, and I'm going to take in the wee Peavey, which is just like a 5-watt all valve thing with gain, tone, volume, and I want to play with that just for taking away all the stuff and just having just one sound, see what you can do. They're amazing. Cosm engine. Oh, I might have had one of them. Is the Cosm's the 20-bit thing, which I mean, they sound amazing. It's just that I don't like the music I like doesn't have those sounds in it. The curse of technology. John Denver. The thing is that if you look at, I mean, actually the first big band I was in, the guitarist was a mad John Denver fan. We used to do several sort of 70s rock versions of John Denver songs, ones that were easy, because he would just go, it's just A&D, go! And that's what it would be. I'm not selling that Schecter bass, no, sorry. There's some guitars I can't sell. It comes down to, would I the reason I don't have any guitars anyone else has got is because I figure I could get another one. So say if I've got like a, like I don't know, an ice white, all white Mexican Fender Strat, smashing. I would love that guitar, but I could sell that just now. And if I wanted to get one in 5 years' time, I could get one in a couple of months, I'm pretty sure. Whereas all the ones I've got, all the ones you see here, you're never going to get one the same, but you might if you wait for 5 years and scour eBay and Gumtree and Facebook, you might get one similar, the same shape or whatever, but a completely different range or years apart. So I'm ended up stuck in this situation where I've got guitars that the reason I can't sell them is because I don't think I would ever find another one. More than half the guitars I've got, I've never seen another one the same. I mean, okay, I've seen another one the same, but instead of being black, it's white or whatever. But one, you know what I mean? It's like, it's difficult. Oh, think up. You're right. I start my day with the classical guitar, chase my turn never into A being of sounds and Mobius loop. I can't do classical guitar. I've heard you play Blacktooth, and yes, I love you for that. I mean, being able to play that, it's like if you give me, I've tried playing nylon string guitar, but I just play the same as what I do. I've kind of managed to develop a certain way of playing it so I can play Black Sabbath on it. Do you know what I mean? Bulk Hogan, another great name. What's the thing with the orange keys? It's the thing. I've actually used this live. Hopefully, it's not going to be too connected to things. It's not too connected to things. Yeah. It's actually a Nintendo Wii controller for the game Rock Band that's very, very dusty. That I built this box for, and I've got a Korg Volca bass, which is an analog synthesizer. So this Rock Band controller actually has a MIDI output on it, so I can MIDI control this, because this has only got a stupid slider thing. So I can run this up and have it hanging around my neck and play proper analog synth using this, which I just painted stupid. So it's actually for a Wii Rock Band thing, but I used to play gigs with Jesse Ray, and I'd have this hanging around my neck with the Volca bass for playing some songs and the Volca keys for playing other songs. I used to just physically just pull the MIDI cable out, stick it into the other one, and I had a bass sort of slung on my back like this that was shaped like a sword. So if you get one of these wee Volcas, I don't know if it's really as important as it was at the time. At the time, you couldn't get an analog synthesizer for cheap, and that basically is a three oscillator analog synthesizer. The only problem is you need a MIDI keyboard to control it, or you buy a shitty thing. It's good fun. Catch you later, Electric Caveman. Go and get right out. That Line 6 M13. I don't know what that is. That movie. BT20. The work is never done. Oh, you're going to. Oh, hold on. I'm a wee bit behind now. Harmonium. My free guitar's a classic CMAR. CMAR are good. I had a CMAR bass. They're at one point they were like Ibanez, not cheaper, well cheaper, but basically basic range. Like you would get it and it wouldn't have any paint on it. It'd be like kind of only available in natural, no binding, bolt neck, 2 simple pickups, 1-ply pick guards, but spend money on the important things, make it sound good. Oh, I've just zoomed in and zoomed out, right. Make things as simple as possible, but not simpler. Yes. I like that. Einstein said it, so make things simple, but not simpler. Yeah, that's kind of basically my story about how I'm wiring crazy guitars these days. It's like, I can do the most stupid things with guitar wiring, like things I don't think anyone's ever done before, getting 1,000 sounds out of a 2-hum pickup guitar, but got to make it so that it's possible to understand what it is you're doing. The last big one I did was 105 sounds from a Strat, 3 levers, a push-pull pot. It was difficult, but not pure mind melting. You can just do it with different switches, and you've just got like, oh, I've got 6 switches. Oh, this is phase, this is neck pickup chorus. But it's like you've got to try and keep it down so it's easy to understand, not necessarily. Yeah, so maybe I'm just like Einstein. See, a wee bit big-headed there. That's brilliant. Record a Sabbath cover with it. The thing is, I would totally be able to play bits of the Sabbath stuff that does have synths in it on that. Amazing, but I can't do it at the same time as playing the bass. I'd rather play the bass. There are orbs floating around you, am I? Wow, maybe I'm being channeled from somewhere. Hey Lance, not seen you before. You just said yes, but that's what Yoko said to John, so that's all that's important. It's more of a technology trip than normal. Each month brings a new bit of gear. Hey, that Scottish dude, you've caught up. I'm awfully bright. Would that be because my lights burst and I haven't bought a bulb for it yet, so I'm using that fluorescent thing? All right, Lance, your ABQ Skies. I know you. Yeah, totally. Yeah, totally. You should have an album called That Boil. Yeah, and then you leave. It's like, Lance, that boil. Sorry. Very good. But yeah, Blacktooth, you're talking about the technology thing. Yes and no and yes, and it's scary. And how much time are you spending? I mean, I'm as bad for it as well, just having lots of guitars. I would be so much better on the guitar if I just had 2, like a sort of Gibson and a Fender. But I spend so much time fixing them and doing them up than actually, playing and learning stuff. I mean, I'm in a slump just now. I need to have a look at some proper theory and try and learn some more licks. I'm very aware I keep playing the same thing in different keys. I've got a few things that I really like just now that I keep doing that. I can't help it. It's my favorite thing, and it's like I need to move more rather than being. I'm quite good at playing the things I can play, so I practice them a lot, and I've not the things I can't play at all. So it's like a collector of fuzz pedals. Vince, I take it you've watched my Fuzz Firsty series. I think it's about 11 or 12 or something just now. I started putting videos out on a Thursday. I stopped doing videos on a Thursday because no one ever watches videos on a Thursday. Then I did Fuzz Firsty because I thought that was amusing. And my pals, up here, you like fuzz pedals? Gave me a bag of like 6 of them or something. And then once I've done that, he gave me another bag. And it's like, I've not even got onto my fuzz pedals yet. Fuzz pedals are fun. I never really liked them, but they make pure sense to me, especially the sort of 60s Hendrixy fuzz pedals are just really my thing. Not that I'm a particularly huge Hendrix fan, but some kind of tone bender. Oh, I don't know. I'm not sure whether these things, if you just buy one that's just made by somebody, I've got a fuzz pedal, which is one of my favourite ones. It's not actually in the loop just now. It's got, it's this, which I bought for really cheap off a guy in Yorkshire whose uncle made it for him, and it was really cheap because the switch didn't always work. So I was up here. I've got one of those switches. I think I paid 15 quid for it, and it's like, it sounds nuts. And it's like a handmade by somebody. So I think if you're going to make it yourself, or you get any ability to make it yourself, or you can buy it off somebody who lives relatively near you that you can make one yourself, I think that might be the way to go. You're going to get the same sounds or better sounds, but it won't have the resale value. I mean, I know you can pick up fuzz pedals, I mean, I bet you can pick up a £200 fuzz pedal, no problem. Which, because everybody knows what it is, oh, you paid £200 for it, so it's still going to be worth 180 quid, 170 quid when you try and sell it on eBay. That's fine. Something like that sort of thing, where you make it yourself at a 20 quid kit, or you get somebody to make it out a 20 quid kit and they're selling them for 30. There's a guy on eBay actually selling just now. I've not tried them, but he's got all the variations, and it's just basically a crap looking box. You know, it's like just a generic box painted green, and it's like the Russian fuzz or the germanium fuzz or the fuzz face or whatever. That's, I bet you they're all really good, and as good as the main things. They just don't have the kudos of going, I've got a Fender. Bet you it sounds the same. I don't know anything about a tone bender though. I know it's basically that's what Tony Iommi used, and Brian May used the tone benders. I think you're going back to a time when, guitar pedals, tone bender, fuzz face, wah. I've got all the pedals you can get. I think it's sort of like a fuzz pedal. Hey, Liquid, I'm new to electric guitar. What should I have my guitar knob to? You when I play Metallica or Nirvana? 10. Best sounds always when you've got the knob at 10. I assume that's what you're talking about. Just like 10 is just the most rocking. That's a wee bit fuzzy. That's my fuzz pedal. Let's go for a distortion. I've managed to completely disconnect something. No sound. Yeah. Sorry. When you've got so many pedals all linked up, even in the most expensive ones, sometimes if you've moved it a bit when you stomped on it, it's just pulled the cable out the side of it. Well, basically, I think if you're new to the guitar, you want the maximum distortion sound so that you can go. It doesn't show up mistakes as much, basically. So I think you're talking about, you want your guitar pretty much bridge pickup, which is this one, and if you've got on your amp, you might have a gain and a volume. Turn the volume right down and the gain to maximum, and then turn the volume up a little bit till you get the easy to play, hides lots of mistakes. That sound where you can just. If you could play the right notes if you really wanted to. The tone bender is basically just like an original. It's a fuzz pedal, really. The tone bender. It sounds like it's also sometimes called a treble booster. It's kind of because back in the day you didn't have amps that had a master volume, so they didn't do it. So if you wanted it to be distorted, you had to have all the dials at 10, sort of thing. 13, Mr. Knock. Well, that's a lot. My Sovtech there, actually, I bought Letraset for it, and it goes to 11. The Spinal Tap was new to me. Black Metal. I don't know. Black Metal. Show my Pam Chug. Okay. Yeah, so you want bridge pickup on your Wii amp. You want gain at full and the volume at nothing, and then turn it up until it's not, until you can hear it. And then you want to play with your hand sitting on the strings. See, it doesn't really matter what kind of bridge you got, but I've got my hand sitting there, right? Because I've got my hand actually resting on the strings, and you can let it go. And the trick is, whenever you look at somebody playing the guitar, look at all the greats playing with their right hand. When you're learning to play the guitar, you see an awful lot of people who are doing this. They're not good. The people who are playing well, their hand looks like this. It's not. It's arm. And there is a bit of a trick in being able to hit a note, this note. There is a bit of a trick being able to go. Like being able to hit that one string. I'm not hitting any of the other strings. That's the hard bit. Left hand, easy. You don't need to do anything. All you need to know is a power chord, which is root note, and then up one string, up one fret. And it works the same here. And with those chords, slide them up and down. And no reason to learn any difficult chords. Just power chords all the way. I have one distortion pedal, an early 80s MXR distortion like Randy Rhoads used. Don't use it though, prefer the other way. Just because Randy Rhoads thought it was amazing and he's amazing doesn't mean it's necessarily for you. I think there's an awful lot of, there's so much personal preference, and even if you are the world's biggest Dave Gilmour fan, for example, it doesn't mean you need to have the pedals he used. You might like using different pedals to get a similar sort of effect. Nothing wrong with it. There's so much personal preference in it. It's impossible to judge, really. I mean, that's the whole thing about, the Tonewood debate, or we're talking about Pontiac. I hope you watch this and catch up. Yes, I totally believe that you're right, that you can tell the difference. It's totally fine. Yes, I can't, but that's not. I can't use a multi-effects pedal. So it's like what do I know? It's like, it's really what you like, and if you think it makes a difference, it makes a difference. I could argue that you could sit and have a Flying V that was absolutely identical in every single way to this, all the same woods, same build, same pickups, same frets, everything the same, but it's a Flying V. I will play it differently because it's a Flying V. Straight up. Even if everything's absolutely identical, sonically and everything, it's a Flying V, therefore I'll play it different. That's it. Regardless of how it sounds. Hey Daniel, I enjoyed the intro jam yesterday of Caroline by Status Quo. Yes. It's kind of difficult. I've never really jammed with Scott before, so it's like kind of He's like, he can play Star Wars in arpeggios. You're like, how do you deal with someone that can do that? So I'm like, I don't know. It's like my strengths, I suppose, are able to keep going, blasting out an A chord. Give me an A chord, I'll play for 10 minutes. I don't need anything else. I'm happy with that. That's fine. It's like being able to play something easy, really good, sounds better than being able to play something really hard but not very well. Learned that a long time ago. It's like, being able to just kind of go, doing that well sounds better than done not perfectly. Therefore, I'm really good at playing really easy stuff that I've played thousands of times before, but shit at playing things that are hard. Joined metal shop in school hoping to fight individuals. It's only spot welding. Spot welding's fun. I wish I could do that. There are no absolutes. I think I stuck in a Star Wars shitey version thing there. It was like only the Sith deal with absolutes. I don't ever want to. The thing is, when I know people that do this, and they will say something, and then more information will come out, and they will go, well, I already said it was red, so I will double down on that fact that it's red, even though now the person who painted it said it was blue. Do you know what I mean? It's like, always be able to just go, all right, okay, because I'm not 100% about anything. That's, I think, a better way of doing it. Like, so I don't know, maybe tone wood does make a difference. I don't know, maybe the neck being a cap, and yes, it possibly could. Just now, I don't think so, but that doesn't mean it's not right. That just means I'm not on the level yet. Have I seen Status Quo live before? I have, yes. I've seen Status Quo live a few times. The first time was shite. They were doing, I don't know, a 30th or a 40th anniversary of some album they did, and it was all old blues songs. Never really played anything I'd known. We were in the Armadillo in Glasgow. It was absolutely roasting. We'd all drank our booze before we went in, so we're all sitting there dying for a drink of any sort. When we went out, right, just need a can of Coke or something, that'll do, or a bar, anything, nothing. All the drinks machines were turned off and all that. We'd just get chucked out on the street. It was awful. And then a year later, or 2 years later, my mum and dad and my wee brother were going to a gig with the Co at the SACC. Do you want to come? Like, aye. But I mean, I don't have to pay. I'll be there. You know what I mean? And they were fucking brilliant. So I've seen them once at the Armadillo. They were awful. Twice at the SACC when I went with my mum and my dad and my wee brother. They were brilliant both times. And then the last time was with the original bass player, Lancaster, with Wilco Johnson supporting at the Academy. And they were a different band with Lancaster in it because he was pure part of the band, which I'd never really known, because every time I've seen or I've heard of Co, there wasn't the three singers and the drummer. Whereas the three of them, suddenly he was singing. It was very much, instead of being the two of them in a band, it was the three of them in a band. It was kind of bizarre. Hey, Bins, I think Rainbow for the gay, okay, Anti-Nuclear up for that. Mushrooms, Magic Mushrooms, brilliant. Stratocaster, red and white Stratocaster, that's good. And then a Rainbow, well, that's fine, yeah. Always clearly says just review, but there's loads I say I don't agree with. I respect your opinions. The world would be a dull place. Yes, but there's a difference between, as you're saying there, Jess, it's like trying not to, I don't want to offend anyone. Just, I mean, I can understand. Maybe you've got your Squire Strat and it's the best guitar you've ever played ever. It's the best guitar in the world. It'll be, maybe, well, yeah, possibly. I don't think it's very likely. I don't have any Squires or any Epiphones or anything like that, because my thing is 80s Japanese guitars. Maybe other people wouldn't like them. For me, it's like I mean, most of my guitars, I found out when I looked out every guitar I had that had a maple neck, and it's like one of them I made myself, so it didn't count, but all the rest were between 1981 and 1983, all made in Japan, all different makes, because for me, that's just the absolute pinnacle of guitar building. It's like going into a guitar shop now, in my opinion, you're looking at above the standard ranges to get to what all these ones you see on the wall are. You're up at 1,500, 2,000. Okay, that's not a standard. That is a standard range in Gibsons, you know what I mean? But that kind of 1,500, 2,000 pound to get ones that are of this level. It is an opinion, though. I'll stand by it and I'll fight you with it. But if you said, would you rather have a Westone Concord or a £2,500 brand new Strat? I'm going to take the £2,500 brand new Strat and sell it, because that's not a couple £100, you know. But is it a better guitar? Yeah. And it's fine, Jez. I don't mind. Disagreeing is fine, but it's like, it's the old thing about disagreeing with someone. I don't mind arguing with someone about something that neither of us really care about. Black Sabbath are the best heavy metal band ever. No, Deep Purple are. Right, let's fight about it. But ultimately, I don't really care, and neither do you, so it's fine. It's good fun to have an argument. And I'm talking about right up to the call each other bastards to their face and threatening. That's fine. But it really doesn't. I'm not going to get butthurt over it. Early acid stuff. Yeah. Paper plate. I know. I don't know what cool stuff's on YouTube. I don't know. Just I guess it's something from the 70s, something with Mystery Song on it. That's a funny tuning. That's my excuse for being shite at it. Not the Bucky. Obviously, the Bucky makes you better. Ugh. But yeah, no, it's amazing. Have you heard of Mike Jupp? I have not heard of Mike Jupp at all. I don't even know where to look at that. It's not even a name. I can go, oh, I've heard of that, but I don't know whether he makes shoes or guitars or he's a producer. I just don't know. 2.5 grand would get you 7 classic vibes and a few packs of strings. Yeah. But instead of 7 classic vibes, you could get what you see on the wall here, as in Ibanez Blazer, Aria bass, a Buckycaster. You can get a Buckycaster anyway. Westone Concord, Washburn Force 2, Washburn Force 3, Washburn A10. Get all of them. Every one of them better than anything classic vibe I've ever done. In my opinion, I'm not one to fight about it, but if you try them both, classic vibe are good. Classic vibe are this level. They're what you get. Right. The last night of the Electrics is really enjoyable. Possibly. I wish I knew more of it. Mystery Songs one is, I think, maybe my favourite song they've ever done. I think. As Nin the cartoon chap. Hold on, I've missed out something here. Oh, sorry, I didn't realise it was Slap and Sniff who asked about a cool live show. Get one with Lancaster on it, on the bass, playing the Fender Music Master or the Mustang, whatever one he played, as opposed to Rhino. Rhino's a much more bass playery, whereas Lancaster, he's about this height. Playing as like a first wave bass player, if you know what I mean. So you get your John Entwistles and your Jack Bruce and Geezer Butler, who bass playing didn't really exist when they started playing the bass, so they've got their own thing. Lancaster's one of them. I really wanted a P bass. Tried US and Mexican Fenders watching this with my £350 classic vibe. The classic vibes, what I do say about them is they do have the nice glossy neck on them. It's like, which for me is a big thing. See that modern sort of powdery satin crap? I don't like that. But then again, I've played guitars that were thousands of pounds that have that. It's just not my thing. I like a glossy neck. But I mean, yes, I don't know. I mean, P-Bass is for me, the P-Bass is the ultimate bass. I don't really need anything other than a P-Bass. I was talking about this earlier on with my Schecters. I've never bought any more just P-Basses, so I'll buy one that's a stupid shape or a crazy or like an Explorer or whatever, just because it's a bit different. But I don't need any more P-Basses. The exception being something like that, which is a P-Bass, but it's got stupid pickups in it, which makes it a bit more exciting. Oh, here's a name, plays a telly. I don't know. Make to run to the cash converters and grab some of the unknown brands for cheap. Yes, Bulk Hogan. And Bulk Hogan again, an awesome name. I was actually, what was I watching with Civic yesterday? Some crap anime thing. The Romeo and Juliet, and Bulk Hogan and Hulk Hogan was in it. Pretty funny. Ozzy Osbourne plays one of the main parts. It's terrible, but I mean, it's kind of, it's like all these things like Toy Story and stuff, you can tell it's been designed for folk who've got kids, like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6-year-old kids, and they've got to sit and watch this thing, so they might as well make it funny for the adults as well. It's like that. I don't have kids, so I've never, any of these films I've watched on my own back, which is disgusting, but I'll accept it. But yes, unknown brands, Bulk. I'm just going to call you Bulk. That's even better than Bulk Hogan. Hey, Bulk. This is Bulk. Yeah. Yeah, there are brands to go for and brands to avoid. I need to do a more comprehensive lesson, but if you're going to cash converters, you can try these things out, so you can tell. See, when you pick up like a Bowwood, a Westwood, and a Swift, what else is there? And it's just powdery and kind of made out of the sort of thing you'd expect. Like, and if you were in a craft shop and they'd like an ornamental duck made of that material rather than being made of good wood, that sort of thing, you can tell. Amazing Gould, Jim Deacon, vintage. I've got a big list. I should do a video of all the big lists. I should write them all down. The ones that I go for and the ones that I avoid. Because you get ones that aren't particularly good. Acoustic Solutions, Behringer. They're not brilliant, but they're playable and usable instruments. You get to your Westwood and CB Sky, and really all you can get off that guitar is the scratch plate and the knobs. Everything else is pish. For the difference in price to find it, Queen at Wembley 86. I think you're maybe talking about Live Aid. No? Was that, or did Status Quo support? Maybe they did support Wembley 86, I don't know. Heat Your Vitamins. Yeah, I think there used to be vitamins in Bucky. I don't know if it tells you anymore. It used to be. Got a vintage V4 Tony Butler. I don't know who Tony Butler is, but I mean, vintage. There's a lot of things going on about vintage, saying it's like, oh, you want to get the earlier ones, or you want to get the later ones between Trev Wilkinson. But I mean, I've not had a vintage that hasn't been excellent yet. Fair enough, I'm buying these things at maybe 10, 15, 20 years old, so it's possible that any issues they had have been sorted. But I mean, vintage, as far as I'm concerned, are excellent and basically better than Epiphone or Squire, just flat out. If you're looking at a Stratocaster at 300 quid, oh, do I buy the vintage or the Squire? The vintage is a better guitar. If you're buying an Epiphone SG, oh, is the vintage one at the same price better? Yes, it is. It just straight across the board. They don't have the resale value though. Also, they've got a really crap name for looking them up on the internet, because you look up vintage guitar and obviously immediately you get hundreds of guitars from the 50s and 60s. Fenders and ones at 50 grand and stuff, which is fair enough. Mickey Drip. My thumbnail trick. Ask if you want to know it. I want to know it. I want to know what a thumbnail trick is. Is it as long as it's a thumbnail, as in thumbnail, or some sort of trick about looking up internety things? Bulk going for the massive gauge, yeah. I say all the vintage guitar crowd's been excellent for the pound. Yes, I've not come across a vintage I didn't like, really. The pint curls at the moment. Oh yes, that's what got you. There's a stag. Stag is another one. Stag is one of those ones that don't be knocking Stag. See if you can find a Stag that's got a metal circular plate on it with a kind of Stag brand on it. They are excellent guitars. Later on, they're less good. But if you get the chance to try these things, you know it. You pick it up and you go, this feels like a real guitar. And it's like, Stag, that's fine, but yes, there are excellent Stags. I've never come across an absolutely shite Stag either. I've come across less good ones. At one point, I had two. I bought a Stag, Strat, 25 quid or something, and my pal Ivor picked me up one. Do you want? I saw you bought that Stag. Do you want this one as well? Because it was, half a mile down the road from him, so he got it as well, and it was 25 quid as well. And both of them were Stag black and white Strats. The one I'd bought had a metal plate on it and was twice as good as a guitar as the other one, even though obviously they've shifted factory. They were maybe 5-10 years apart, and it was just a basic black Stratocaster. But the difference between one with the metal plate on it and the other one was a huge gulf. But even the cheap one was still all right. You could make something out of it if you're willing to do a wee bit of faffing about. There'll be lots of folk on YouTube telling you how to adjust truss rods and sort electrics and stuff. I should be doing more videos like that, but I've done lots of videos like that. I should really put them in a playlist. It's really what I should be saying. The Epiphone line that came out in 2020 took them to the next level. Finally, but we can argue about this, Bulk. Sort of, because that the one I was talking about, the SG I bought that was absolutely shit by any standards of the word shit, was a 2020 model, and it was atrocious. It did have a better headstock, but it was nothing like any of these. Have a wee look, Bulk, at basically any guitar that was built between 1979 and 1985 in Japan, like Aria, Washburn, Vantage, Hondo. There's lots of different makes. Like totally night and day between what we're now classing as a good guitar. Because what you get now as a good guitar is this, which is a Samick built Epiphone Les Paul or Epiphone SG. I'm not sure it is Samick. There isn't a serial number on it. Kind of feels a bit like it though. So it's basically what you get now as any modern guitar under $1,000 is this, basically, but with a different shape, different colours and stuff like that. Whereas these things are a league above that. I use gauge 15 strings. I didn't even know gauge 15 existed. Ultimately, I don't think it really matters. I mean, there is a picture of Hulk Hogan. I'm pretty sure I've seen a video of him dressed entirely in spandex, playing a Super Strat, painted like the American flag. And it's like, I've just got visions of that. Maybe he had 15s. I'm in pure. Maybe. Sound good. Push your thumbnail into the wood of the neck, somewhere you shouldn't leave too much of an impression. I've seen that. You're talking about wood density, yes. It does actually leave a wee bit of an impression. Maybe don't do it on it, I've seen it in the body where it really, like that. If you look at my videos, there's one I had to smash up. It was that crap. See if I just really, really grabbed onto it. And I was Hulk Hogan, I could have probably just gone and pulled a chunk out the body, that's how crap it was. Or, you know, if you took a really good bite into the neck, you could physically bite out the neck. Terrible. Yeah. I'm annoyed I might have damaged this though. Oh, it's returned. Yeah, because this is quite a quality guitar. So don't be sticking your thumbnail into a bit that you can see. It might dent it. Thunder lips. Tell on your would be your concert tickets going through which band you've seen live. I do actually have a shoebox with all the gigs I've ever been to. Yeah, good idea. Yeah, I'll do that for a video. Cheers, Daniel. That'll be. I don't know when I put it out. I'm doing too many videos now. I can't keep up with what I'm doing. It's like I've been putting. I don't know if you've noticed the last few days. I've been putting out like one at lunchtime and stuff. I just get so many. There's too many things to say. But listen, I'm going to keep the Sunday stream on because I'm really, really loving you guys talking and being able to just sit and drink and talk about whatever you want, really. Oh, I'm saying the thing is, what impressed me most was that Harley Benton Les Paul with P90s for 130. Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, you can't argue. It's the price thing, though. The problem is for 130 quid, not buying new, that's a new guitar. So you're comparing that to what you get now as a new guitar. 130 quid covers basically, maybe not that one. I think that was nearly 200. But all the other ones you see on the walls covers each one of them. And they are fighting basically anything you can buy new just now for a couple of grand. It's up here. Oh, obviously a Fender Strat's worth more than that Washburn A5. That's not the point. Is it better? Oh, but this is a Strat. Yeah. That is a Fender Strat. That's fine. Yep. Is it better? But that's a Fender Strat. Is the only argument you're going to get because basically it is better. M4 overpriced. They've drunk from Gibson's Hemlock. Yeah, but I understand the needing to have a Gibson. I've got one. So the fact I've got a Gibson, it kind of, the reason I've still got a Gibson, the reason I've still got a Fender is so I can slag off everyone else. Normally I've got my boring corner, which is my 90s Gibson SG Special and a Japanese Fender mid-90s Strat. So I can sit here and go, oh, better than a Gibson, better than a Fender. There's my Fender and there's my Gibson. Both of them arguably as good ones, not from a bad year, from a good year. You know, mid-90s Japanese Fender Strat is about, if you go to the Strat experts, pretty much as good a Strat as you can get. And the same with the early 90s Gibson SG is. It doesn't have the fancy binding, but it's about as good as an SG ever got. So I've got the two of them, and I can just slag them off while I talk about all these cheap, shitey things that are great. Back of the neck. All right. No, you can't stick your thumb into the back of the neck. The back of the neck's poly finished. I was looking at the fingerboard because it's not finished. Well, in a rosewood, it's not finished. I don't usually wear spandex, but when I do, I go commando. I think that's part of the rules, isn't it? Because what's the point in wearing spandex if the girls can't see your junk? How best can we authenticate? Yeah, I think maybe. Oh, hold on, I've missed out some. HBLP Junior with fat neck option or not is an amazing guitar for layers. So I'd take that over any up one. To be honest, at any price, that's a distortion. Yes, I mean I can see that. The problem, I shouldn't be saying this, but I'm going to say it. The problem is I've been to China and I've bought guitars not from the factories. Obviously, they'd be cheaper from the factory. And buying it at a thing called Taobao, Taobao, where you can. It's kind of like their version of Amazon, and you can buy sort of direct from the factory, and I picked up a few Telecasters, and they were £250 guitars when we get them over here. And they were... No, anyway. You can pick up a pretty decent Telecaster for 30 quid. Delivered, if you're in China. So I've done videos of them, but the different thing was I was in Shenzhen. I have a girlfriend who speaks Chinese, yeah. So she phoned up these people and said, yes, big UK industry. My boyfriend's a super big UK industry importer. If want to buy a couple of Telecasters off you, if they're good, maybe do an awful lot more business. Those were the Telecasters I got. I didn't get the ones that they sent to AliExpress. The ones where they go, well, someone's paying £200 for this, mostly in postage. So they send it and they're not going to send it back. I was in Shenzhen, so I could send it back for like £3 if it wasn't good. And I got some amazing guitars, and we're talking up to Mexican level for sub 50 quid sort of thing. That's what they cost. That's what your Harley Bentons are. Your Harley Bentons are those guitars. It's just that when Harley Benton buy a guitar for 30 quid or 40 quid, they can sell it for 120. Whereas when Fender buy a guitar for 30 quid or 40 quid, they sell it for 250. That's the difference. But I didn't say that. I never said that. Vintage VS63 SG shape 3 humbuckers beats any of the Epiphone. The thing is, I had a chance at one of them. I don't know if it was an old one though. It was a 3 pickup SG, and there was something very wrong with the neck joint on it. It was only 30 quid, and I didn't buy it because the guy had lots of other guitars that were better buys. But I didn't buy it, and there was something very wrong with it for that 3 pickup one. But that was the first vintage one I played. But since then, I've had a few, and they've been basically just like the Epiphone one, but better. Sort of maybe a little bit. I don't know whether that was a newer one or an older one, or there was something wrong with it. There was something wrong with the neck joint where it felt really not like a guitar. It felt like somebody had made it themselves. Mike Jupp plays the telly in the Wilco style. Well, I'm going Wilco style. And basically, I'm now, to be honest, partially doing this to annoy Blacktooth Fox because he hates the coily lead. It's like the old pair. Look at it pulling on the cable. It's worse when it's on top of the amp. But I mean, really, you'd have to be 10 meters away before it gets big enough to pull your amp over. But since you brought it up, Blacktooth, I've been using it as much as I possibly could. I did a video for that, the Marshall, the other day, and it was sitting there just with the lead going straight into the amp. It's like, yeah, bouncy. I think part of the joy of using it, which I'm sure Wilco gets as well, is the joy of people being pure fear of it, going like that. You can't be using that. It's like, oh, no, you can't be using that. Oh, no. Yeah. Dodgy input on this guitar. It's not the lead. Never go full commando. Well, that sounds like a quote from Tropic Thunder, which I film actually quite. The vintage of the Bart Simpson headstock. Yes. Actually, if I actually put it out, the video I put out of me and Scott going through the guitar shops in Glasgow. So Bart Simpson, once it's pointed out, you can't not see it. But hey, I've got 2 and an LP and an SG. SG is Wilkinson pickups. Wilkinson pickups are excellent. I have a theory about these, but because I'm drunk, I don't care what I'm saying. Let's see the Wilkinson Warman Iron Gear Vanson. They basically order from Chinese factories the same spec as whatever the Seymour Duncan or the DiMarzio is of that level. So they'll buy a DiMarzio Super Distortion and go, right, well, 5,000 wines, AWG 45, Alnico 4 pickup, magnet, build this, and they get it built. And that's how they could basically produce something that's pretty much exactly the same as the Seymour Duncan or the DiMarzio for a quarter of the price. What I also think is that, see, these Chinese factories that they use, they make them themselves as well. So you buy a pickup, 2 for a tenner or 2 for 12 quid, that look like DiMarzio Super Distortions. They are the same as the Wilkinson or the Warman DiMarzio Super Distortions, which are 95% the same as real DiMarzio Super Distortions. I didn't say that though. You want a little bit. I mean, I've never had a Warman pickup that wasn't awesome, but I've also never bought a pickup from China direct that wasn't awesome as well, especially when you start putting in, you know, you're looking at, like, I'm looking at buying a set of P90s for one of my Washburn wings. I'm going to make my own one, and it's like a tenner for a pair of P90s. And those P90s are awesome. They are better, I would pretty much guarantee, than what you would get in an Epiphone, a £300 Epiphone, because the Epiphone has been, oh, Bruce put these pickups in it. And Gibson are going, it's going to kind of make it sound a bit like the Gibson. Can you get like sort of shitter pickups? And the company's going, well, we've already got these ones that are pretty good. It's like, can you make shitter ones? And it's like, well, they'll be more expensive. Just a couple of pound more expensive, that's fine. A couple of pound more expensive to get shitter ones, so that people will try the Epiphone at 400 quid and then try the Gibson at 800, and the Gibson will sound definitely better. That lead offends me as well. It's there to offend. I offended the bass player the other day. It was great. I love it. But the thing is that this is a lead that actually works. It's like, I'm such a snob. As soon as I saw that it said made in Japan on the other end of it, I was like, pure bad Jap. And it's obviously 80s Japanese lead. That's going to be great. Hey, Public Art Group 2. Is that you, Jerry? I've actually mentioned you a couple of times tonight. And to be honest, I called you a complete bastard both times. I didn't. I can't remember what I was talking about. The lighting is spot on. Right? Well, I don't know. It's basically my light bulb's broken. And as soon as it's kind of, this is not just anyone. This is Phil. And as you may notice, it's got a really subtle eagle landing on a rug. Fantastic. It's all mother of pearl as well. Fantastic. Hey, hey Jerry, how's it going? I can't remember why I was talking about it earlier on. You need to look back at some other point. Definitely wasn't. I can't remember why did I mention Jerry earlier on? It was some piece of advice she gave me at some point. And it's like, it stuck, whatever it was, like 3 years ago. You said some throwaway thing, and it was like it pure stuck. And it was like pure, I can't remember what it was now though. Hi, and check out Jenny Sun and the Smoking Gun on YouTube. I saw you did a video of the making of or something that I was going to click on last night, and I forgot. I did something else. Something came up, so I'll just check that out later on. An awesome guy. Also, you look unbelievably like the guy. What was I watching the other night? The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen with like Sean Connery and stuff in it. There's a guy. I don't know who he is, but fucking you. Sorry. Less offending people have just joined. Not in an offensive way, but the main guy is a guy. Like, if you ever look at the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, you'll see that. But it's like pure. No, it's not Sean Connery. No, it's not the Invisible Guy. Oh, it's that guy with a Rockwood LX 100B is a decent bass guitar. Kim, try it. My first ever electric guitar, I don't know if I could have fixed it, but I couldn't play below the 5th fret. That's why I learned playing Black Sabbath. It was a Honor Rockwood LX90 guitar, but that might have been adjustable with a truss rod. I didn't know that at the time. I'd imagine it's a P bass, and it could be good. Kim, do you have the option of playing it first? That's the thing. It's like, because you might get one that plays really amazing and then get one that somebody's tried to adjust it themselves or, replaced bits, or you are looking at a guitar that's now 30, 35 years old. Hey, Graham. I don't think I've seen you before. Graham's just Graham. Don't need any more names, and you play a Les Paul. Oh. LP copy Aber series. I know Aber series have actually got one of them upstairs. Phil looks great. Are they rare? They are in UK. As I said this earlier on, I saw one 18 months ago, last Christmas. The guy had it. It was up here. No way, Phil. I've not seen another one of these. It was up here. Yes, I bought it it was at the Frankfurt NAMM show, or whatever the equivalent of that was. And he bought two, one for him and one for his pal. But they were meant to be samples to buy a line, and nobody in Britain ever bought them in. So he bought two. None of them look like this one. This is my girlfriend bought this in Taipei in 2000. And it's stock Seymour Duncan 59s, big pots, braided wiring, through neck, quality woods. This was very much the top of the range Phil, although you do get Phil Pro, which I think is the same company, but they never really sold them here. But also look at Japanese stuff. You can make a video of what I find from the perspective of someone who mainly plays newer Gibsons and Fenders. I don't own any newer Gibsons and Fenders, but I have set them up and worked on a fair few of them. If you look at my videos, and there might be bias on my side, possibly, like quite a lot, where here's a guitar, it costs £2,000. My opinion of that guitar, it has to be amazing to be worth £2,000. It has to be absolutely pant-wettingly better than anything I've ever played. And I've not come across one that cost that amount of money that was significantly better than the cheapy 80s ones. Maybe better, yeah. Oh, it's always maybe a wee bit better, but not 10 times the price. Do you know what I mean? Nothing like it. It's the law of diminishing returns. Once you start getting up to ridiculous prices, things start going a bit mental. But have a look, JP, look for Aria Pro 2. Look for West Tone. Like, you should be able to pick up a West Tone Thunder. It's got to be that ugly shape, though. If you get one that looks too much like a Super Strat, it might be new. And these ones, actually, if you look at the neck plate, it actually says a Matsumoku product on it. See, if you buy one that says a Matsumoku product on it, it might be pretty hideous to look at, but it'll blow the pants off anything that Gibson or Fender are making just now, and you'll get it for a couple £100, £300. Have a look. Aria Pros are more easier to get cheap because no one knows what they are. I bought this one. It's not the most interesting looking guitar. They only made it for a year, so it's just a kind of a Strato Gibson-y thing. £150, and I would put that up against anything that cost £1,000 just now, and it would wipe the floor with it. Absolutely. It's actually got an Ibanez V2 bridge pickup, which is worth more than I paid for the whole guitar. It's just a case of knowing what you're looking for. Even there's a guy, Chris, there was talking about the sort of 80s Arias when they were made in Korea and stuff. That is when there was a significant reduction in quality, and they now became what we buy now as Schecter Diamond Series, classic vibe, top of the range Epiphone. What's that one? Chapman. That's the same factory. This one, basically, this is the guitar that they started making late 80s. Once the Koreans knew how to make guitars, they made them like this. But when they were making these things, they were here. You know what I mean? That makes sense. Oh. I bought a 30 watt amp that was an old Honor Rockwood brand a couple of months ago for £25. Late 90s, so it's bloody vintage now, eh? Sounds alright, quite warm time, nothing awful about it. Yeah, it'll be fine. The problem with wee mini amps is I've talked about this earlier on. the wee Marshall MG I got. See, 20 years ago, I would have jumped at that. It was amazing buy. And now it's like, what's it worth? When I fixed it and made it work, it sounds great. It doesn't. I mean, I'm now a tube snob, so I've got like a £400 tube amp sitting there. But in saying that, I still enjoy playing the £40 tube amp I got there. But maybe I've just kind of got snobby in my old age. But the Marshall MG sounds fantastic. If you can get one of them, I'd probably sell it for 30 quid or something like that. Well, have I got a fill? For me, and also actually after this, my pal Aaron was selling a guitar. He got it from Japan, but it wasn't made in Japan. Have you ever heard of the band Edwards, who make Les Paul copies? They're a kind of an expensive Japanese company. They make Les Paul copies that are better than real Les Pauls and cost 2/3 as much type thing. But they've got like their own Epiphone Squire brand, so it's like a bolt-on, basically sort of quite similar to, you know, the LP 100, kind of that sort of thing, the Slash model. And this was it was Brian by Edwards. It's like pure Brian. I really wanted to buy that off him, so I had Phil and Brian. But basically, we're going for the whole of Thin Lizzy there. But if you see a Phil, or they're sometimes called Phil Pro, they're basically just made in the same factory as, it'd just be a Samick or something. Have I ever played an Eric Johnson Strat? I have not. I'm not even sure I know who Eric Johnson is. Hondo 2, Mr. White. Hondo 2 coming this week. Maple Neck, possibly DiMarzio's Ashtray Bridge, $50. Well, for $50, fuck it, aye, brilliant. But the only Hondos that came with DiMarzio pickups were Les Pauls and the double cut bass, and the serial number and the model number will be a H1020D for DiMarzio. If it's a Telecaster, it's got an Ashtray Bridge, it doesn't have DiMarzio's in it, basically. They'll still be, they might still be go-top pickups. You say there's a Maple Neck, possibly Ashtray Bridge, I mean, for 50 quid, the 50 quid, it's going to be as good as a classic vibe telly. Anyway, as I've said this many times, I even mentioned this in the video I did with Scott the other day when we were going around the guitar shops. It was in a cash converters, the first, when the penny dropped for me, I bought a Hondo Telecaster, bound top. It looked like Prince's guitar. I didn't know what Prince's guitar looked like at the time, but it had a pointy headstock, kind of in that sort of vein. Maple body, bound top, leopard skin scratch plate, and it was 30 quid. And I went outside, like, hold that for 2 minutes. Going to go outside, have a fag, thinking about it. Went over to Guitar, looked in the window, saw the Fender Badja telly at 800 quid, and the Hondo looked more expensive. So I bought it home, glued the nut on because it was falling off, and it was just, everything changed suddenly, because it was a guitar that I just bought for 30 quid that was better than my Epiphones. No, you can't have that because it says Hondo on it and it's got a pointy headstock. Nobody wants that. But as a Telecaster, it was a 700-800 quid Telecaster. Bang, that's what it was. It just didn't. It looked a bit hacky and it said Hondo instead of Fender on it. That changed everything for me. And then for about a year, I was buying mad Hondos because that was when you could buy like a Samick guitar like this or like the best of the Epiphones for a couple hundred quid. That was better than what you could buy now. And then I'm not sure when it became the Japanese, and suddenly it went, oh, hold on, for another 50 quid, you can get a guitar that's better. So it's been better than the Epiphones, better than the Gibsons, or better than the Squires. It's now better than the Fenders. Hey, George, you got a Hondo 2 set neck with Duncans. The Hondo, if it's, well, the problem is there are really crap Hondos. I had one that was just, it had a plywood neck, like a plywood body I can handle, but this had a plywood neck, so it had like plywood going that way for the fingerboards and plywood going that way for the neck, and it was just, there was no way of making it work. It's like, oh, what are you going to, oh, just upgrade it. And it's like, well, the tuners are shite. They need to go. The pickups are like, just, they're not humbuckers or single cut. Awful. The bridge, it's like Blacktooth Fox was talking about, able to dent it with your fingernail in the back of the neck. You can dent this bridge with your fingernail. Absolute shite. The pots are made of plastic, and then you start going, right, so replace all of that. What about the neck? Yeah, you need a new neck. The neck's made of plywood going this way, and the fingerboard's plywood going that way. And then the body, cheap ply. It's basically, there was nothing on it worth saving. But also, you can get Hondo 2s from a little bit later on. There's one specifically I keep seeing that's got like it kind of looks like it might be neck through. It's got stringers running through it. It's also available in lots of other colours. That is basically an early 90s, as in the best Epiphone Les Pauls. It's basically same factory, same everything, apart from it doesn't say Epiphone on the headstock, and you can pick them up for not very much. They're awesome, awesome guitars. I've done a few of them. Fat Rat amp. Anybody heard of them? I have a 15-watt one. It sounds to my ears like a decent little amp. I know that. I've not bought one. I've not played through one, but I've definitely seen them. Is it like an amp that's actually got a rat pedal built into it? I'm not really sure. I really don't know that much about amps. Apart from I know that like I don't know. Amps are funny. There's so many things in this guitar-y thing where just try and not deal in absolutes, because I don't know about it. There's some things I do know about. I mean, basically, you asked me about Yamaki built Washburn guitars. I'm in the top % of the people in the world that know about that. That's fine. Other stuff, it's kind of a little bit more generic, and whatever I say, it's like pure, yes, I tell you that that's built X place and it's got this. Any more information comes in, I'll change that stance. I don't know. I'm just going for the best information I've got all the way. But I mean, there are brilliant Hondo 2s, definitely. There's also like proper amazing Hondo 2s if you find like a Lead 2 copy, or there's a Dan Electro Longhorn copy, which is like it's like, you know, it's got 36 frets. Dan Electro, you know, the Longhorn, John Entwistle played the bass version of it. But the Dan Electro one was made of fiberboard with tape around it. The Hondo one's made of wood. So it's like, it's arguably the best Dan Electro Longhorn you can buy as a Hondo. They're never cheap. And we're going back 10 years from the last time I looked, and they were 700-800 quid. But better than a quality built guitar. The curved grill. Oh, maybe. I don't know, but it's whatever works for yourself. It depends on what it is you're trying to do. And I think it's just like, I guess you'd probably argue punk, but I mean, it's not punk music I like. It's Sabbath and all that, but it's like, you know, I can dig that has been what I want to play, just open chords blasted. You know what I mean? Oh, Blacktooth. Horner made a little cricket back Steinberger headless, but out of wood. Sorry, I wasn't storming off in a bad mood. I was just saying, Honor made a little cricket back bass, but instead of being made out of fiberglass, it was made out of wood. It's a Honor B2A professional series. bass, which doesn't work. I need to go into it because the volume is a quarter of what it should be. It does have an active circuit that works, but the active circuit makes it from a tenth of the volume it should be to a quarter of the volume it should be. And when you open it up and look in the back, it's spaghetti. If it hadn't worked at all when I got it, that would have been fine with that. But it did work. It's just really quiet. I'll plug it in and show you. Stick it into the bass amp. You'll probably be able to hear it, but I never thought I'd get one of these because they're absolutely hideous. I've just got it's just really quiet, but I really need to sort it out. But this one, to be fair to it, actually got it free off a guy that I bought a guitar. I bought a Strat off a guy who lives in Waterside, which is only 2 minutes drive from me. And I was just buying a cheap Strat off him for, I don't know, 20 quid or 30 quid, whatever it was. And I met him at his front door and he's happy. All right, how's it going? This one going to be a bucky caster then? And it was like, pure, right, kind of aware of who I am. Yes, I might be making it into a bucky caster. So I've got something to show you through the back. And then he brought out this. And it was like pure, oh, amazing. I've always wanted one of them. They're absolutely hideous, but they're far too expensive. He's like, do you want to buy it? And I was like, no. I know how much they're worth. They're pure ridiculous. I can't. It's like, it's ugly. 20 quid. Okay. It didn't need a bridge. But I think he knew that if he'd sold it on his own, it would have gone to some scalper who would have chipped it up for parts and made tons of money on it. Whereas he knew that if I ended up with it, I would make it work and keep it. It's taken a little bit longer than I wanted to do it. I do still need to go into it and make it work properly because it's really low output on it. So there's probably just a wire on the wrong place. Blacktooth, the headless bass with a normal body is called the Jack. Of a Honor Ferrari. But honestly, plus 10 points for being called a Ferrari. With a handed scorpion neck. You've got Ferrari and Scorpion in the same thing. That's got to be awesome. 3-hole pickup rings. What that means is court. From a certain era, the 2 pickup rings on the top and 1 on the bottom, I assume is what you're talking about. That's a court thing. If it's from the 80s, if it's earlier than that, it's posh. I've got an Ibanez from 85 that has that, and also the Yamaki built Washburns are 3 screw pickups. It's a better system. It means that instead of it means you can tilt the pickup to match whatever the angle of the strings is. It's a better system, but the only people I've ever seen using it are Yamaki, which is Gotoh pickups, which I think which is the same for the Ibanez. Yamaha, but Yamaha have the 2 screws closer together, so you can tell it's a Yamaha because instead of the screws being here and here, they're here and here. And Cort. Sorry. Sounds okay through headphones. Whatever it was you were talking about, was that me? The wizard creeps deeper into the cave. Like, yeah. Sorry, that was when I was through getting my Steinberger, which I need to dig through. Yes, but the problem is the amp's up much louder than it should be. If I plugged in a normal bass, it'd have been twice as loud as that. There's just something. There's something not right. There's also something. This has got like an XLR output and a normal output, and because there's absolutely bugger all room in there to work, it's just cables. It's not really obvious what's going on, but because it worked sorta when I picked it up, incidentally, the guy, this thing as well. You've got a Flying V. Put that on. You can now play it sitting down. Fantastic. But the guy found that in his back garden. Or in fact, he lived in London. This is about 10, 15 years ago, he told me. He was living in London. One morning he went downstairs and his neighbour was like, up here, hey, you play guitar and stuff, eh? He's like, up here, yeah. He's like, up here. I found this in the back garden last night. That, and then 10, 15 years later, he sold it to me for 20 quid. Yeah, the little hinge thing is an amazing thing, but it's Steinberger licensed. That lead though, sorry man, the joke's not funny. This lead's great. Don't be knocking about the lead. It's the dodgy inputs in the guitars. This is fine. But the fact that, I mean, you do of course realise that the fact that it is annoying you is making me more resilient to using it as much as I possibly can. The jack makes my eyes rain. If it gets that reference. I know my pal Buster, who's sometimes on this stream, has the just bought a jack the other day, actually. This Honor Professional from the 80s, a better system. Yes. I think this was 1986 or 1987. I'm sure the serial number starts 87. So this is an 87 one. I believe there's something to do with having the XLR output makes it a more desirable one. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those guitars. It's a comedy novelty thing for me. No, yeah, if you could pick them up for 50 quid, I would totally have bought one, but they're not. They're a couple of hundred. I'm not paying 10 quid for something that's just stupid. And then I got one for pure cheap. So, great fun. Right, I've been on for 3 hours. So, I love you all. If you want to donate to the channel, which I should have mentioned at the start, not just now, there is a super chat button thing. Which my original plan was to try and get enough. If I could get 7 people to donate £1, I could get a free bottle of Bucky, but I already got a free bottle of Bucky this week. So if you can be bothered, it'd be nice to get something, but you don't have to at all. I do this for fun anyway. I love you all. Any more? Is there another one anyone wants? It has been 3 hours, and the Bucky is so nearly empty that it's not really worth continuing going on. Toenails. I think there was a song I could. Oh, I know this song. The song that I've been singing. I was singing it all day yesterday, and I couldn't think what it was. And I've thought of a second line for it. It's like, can I get drums for it? More fuzz. What's in the box? What's in the box? Enough of your talk. What's in the box? Box. What's in the box? In the box. In the box. box. What's in the box? Enough of all your talk. Show us what's in the box. What's in the box? Wrong button. Wrong button. Still on. Yeah. So why not play? Why not just end with a drunk, see what happens type thing? The thing is, see, when you're drunk, you kind of keep going when your sensible, sober self would have stopped. So you launch into a solo that's wrong, and when you're drunk, you can kind of go, no, I'll be able to recover it. The thing becomes a bit different. Good song. Catch him. Love you all. Thanks very much, man. Catch you all later. And end.